You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of Joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
And good morning. Welcome in. Happy Friday. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert, all I can report here, safe and sound. After, I don't know, I haven't seen any snow totals yet, but I imagine it will vary around the metro area, and the totals will be significant for snow. There's a lot of it. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Mount Happer returns.
Mount Happer does return, although it's not maybe as big as I expected it to,
It's not.
to be, just from the parking lot residue from overnight. But we will continue to remind you of this throughout the program today. If you are making your morning commute this morning, be careful. Leave yourself some extra time, because when some cars, we're right off Dodge Street, and we each use Dodge Street to get here. When some cars get on there and there's some traffic and there's some idiots, we're going to have problems this morning.
There's a whole lot going on.
We're going to have problems in the Omaha metro area. So good luck, Godspeed. Be careful. Be respectful. Have some respect.
There's like a double-edged sword of having the morning show and it snows like it did last night, where it just snowed probably until 1, 2 in the morning. And it's, on one hand, you're going to have to deal with the snow some way, somehow, whether that's driving through it, in your case, driving over it. I shoveled last night.
I have a complete dereliction of duties.
And did a little bit more this morning. But the good part of it is that no matter what, you're going to have to traverse this at some point.
You will.
And not everybody. Some people won't have to at all. But for the most part, if you have to go somewhere, if you're working somewhere and you physically have to be there, you're going to have to traverse it. When it's the morning show, there's just less people on the road.
100%.
And so while it is a pain that you might have to do stuff and work differently, it's much better to have very few cars on the road in these conditions.
Agreed completely. Agreed.
So,
this is our first experience with this.
Right. And I was thinking about that, and it's like, it could have been worse.
It definitely could have been worse. Nathan writes in on Facebook. Way to go. Let's go. Nathan, watch us on Facebook. So the roads weren't great. No, I mean,
Depends on where you're at.
give it an hour. They'll get out there and get some plows on top of it. They're working hard. I saw several plows, unlike our fine friends in Lincoln, who I believe their city owns one snowplow, zero snowplows.
They have access and own many or contract.
I've never
many
seen one.
Snowplows. They just don't choose to put them in action anywhere other than like 5 streets.
Possibly worse.
Yeah.
Possibly worse.
That's Lincoln.
A city in the upper Midwest who has snowplows, but yet I have never seen one in that town. I lived there for like 8 years.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do residential. They won't do residential.
Now the residential
They might
stuff,
have to today.
Schaefer could attest to this. The residential stuff, it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky in there.
That's always a part of it that I'm most concerned about. And where we bought our house, you buy a house in the summer and you're kind of at the mercy of just asking people. But right now, there's really only one way into my section of the neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
And we live like right off of that street, or right on that street, if you would. And there's a big, like, I'm living on the part of the street that's going
on top
up the
of
incline.
a mountain.
And so there's like this steep, you got to drop and it goes down quickly. Well, people love to park their vehicles in inopportune places.
They
even
sure
when they
do.
know, even like that it's going to be bad. It's like, oh, I'm going to park like right here near this curve where cars could definitely just fishtail.
I say all the time. I mean, there's different situations for different people, and I fully respect that. But if you have a house and a driveway and a garage, why is your car on the street?
Yeah,
Get it out.
It blows my mind. And some of it is, some houses end up with a 2-car garage and they somehow can't get both cars in there.
Yeah.
And so then
leave it in the driveway
rather than
the driveway.
Someone leaves later, so then it's in the street.
Or get back further in the driveway.
Yeah, I don't know what all the situations are. It's more that if you know it's going to snow and you live on a street where it's problematic, it seems like you should at least figure out how not to park there at that time.
Nathan also follows up. I was only going to go into work today if you guys made it in. Wow, we are the barometer. So people will pull up their YouTube, their Facebook this morning, and they will say, well, these idiots actually made it there and they're alive. So I think I have a chance to get there. All the schools are closed. We'll have some left. We'll have some less volume this morning on the roads and stuff like that. But maybe there should have been, but there was no discussion about remote work today. Not even a text.
I'll be honest, it's going to take a lot for that to happen.
Yeah.
I think we're in a similar situation. We each have a small child.
Yep.
My
particular child shares a wall with my at-home radio studio.
Sure. And it isn't going to be the most conducive work environment for maybe a couple years. So if I can get out of my neighborhood, I'm going to be at the station.
I'm a big go to work guy anyway.
Yeah.
I like to be here. I like to be amongst you in the same room as you, have great conversations.
Sure.
Rather than just look at it on a screen. So here we are. We'll keep you updated throughout the day. But it's going to be a challenging commute into work this morning. We'll see what those snow totals are like in just a little while when the rest of the weathermen wake up. Although I always see Rusty's tweets at this point. I always wake up to a Rusty Lord tweet. That dude is tweeting before anybody gets up, which I appreciate him for.
Maybe he schedules them.
No, I think he's in there
forecasting.
He's on TV. He's got break-ins at some point. But anyway, so shout out to Rusty. He says this is 44 minutes ago. Most roads are partially completely covered as of 5 a.m. this morning. Most main roads have had few passes from city plows and Department of Transportation crews. Neighborhoods are still messy though. Snow is done. Interesting comment. And the wind is relaxing, so crews should be able to gain some ground on the cleanup. All right, way to go.
This will all
leave it to the real weatherman.
Fine. Late morning.
It's fine.
Because the sun's going to be out. That's going to help. There's less volume with no schools going on. But, just give yourself some time.
Yep.
If you're getting out this morning.
You'll be all right. All right, welcome to the show. We will be talking about the snow and the snowfall at a variety of different points today. I'm sure it's very topical, and I like topical things. But elsewhere today, we will be joined by our good friend Jake Sorensen from 93.7 The Ticket. We'll see how he handled snow this morning. That is coming up all the way in a few hours, 9:15 this morning. And he is not our only guest today, though. We do have another guest coming up in about a half hour. Our city of the day. We're on city number 3. We've done Santa Clara, California. We've done Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, for no particular reason anymore. Nebraska's not going there.
They're going to Buffalo.
They're going to Buffalo.
Yeah, and there's a lot of snow over there.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Hey, you can go. It's
yeah.
right by Niagara Falls.
You're prepared for the snow because of what you've seen here. Go to Buffalo. Same deal all the time.
And Niagara Falls is right over there, so there's something to do over there.
There is something to do over there.
You
Buffalo,
can see the Bills' new stadium.
Yeah, you could share us an update on the new stadium.
and just enthusiasm emanating for me over the idea of Buffalo.
I could tell. Very excited. Buffalo time. But no, our city will not be Buffalo today. It will be Oxford, Ohio, where we will take a closer look at the city that is home to the undefeated Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. And their former mayor and city councilman, Mr. Bill Snavely, will join the show and talk about Oxford,
Yeah. And he is also a Nebraska grad.
which is unbelievable.
Yeah, we just at random.
Picked a random guy on the website at random, and it's like, yes, I'd be happy to come on the radio in Omaha because I love the Big Red.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
I'm a Nebraska graduate. It's like, this doesn't even make sense.
What a world. The GBRs are everywhere. All right.
Funny enough, Miami, Ohio will be in Omaha next week for the last regular season series for the Mavericks hockey.
Hockey.
Look at this.
Joey schedules. My God.
So I admit to, like, I follow UNO when I know that they are very good and people just give me updates on it. How have they been this year?
It's been a pretty tough season
Yeah.
for them. I think they are 10-20 right now. It
has not been pretty.
Yeah. So they got 2 more series left. They have a road series starting today. I think they're in Denver.
Arizona
State. Duh, because they're playing later tonight.
They continue the rivalry with the the Sun Devils.
Yeah, they're in the NCHC now.
Yes.
The Sun Devils are.
They've had they Arizona State has a weirdly good hockey program. It's very odd.
It has been for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is sort of funny in the sense that, you know, the Coyotes no longer exist.
And then that's funny. They don't. They're in Utah now, and they're called the Mammoth or the Utah hockey team or whatever they're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what
I
their
think
name
they're the
is.
Mastodons or something.
Mammoth, right? The Utah Mammoth.
Is that what they went with?
Almost positive. Yeah.
Did they borrow that from when Omaha had a mammoth?
The Omaha Mammoth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Utah Mammoth.
Utah Mammoth.
Is there a squabble over who really gets to claim mammoth?
There has to be. Omaha has to be suing the crap out of Salt Lake.
So.
And then, Miami of Ohio will be here next week. So we're excited for City of the Day coming up at the end of the hour. I'm looking at some National Weather Service snow total reports, which, of all people, John Bishop, old man John Bishop, brought these to my attention as he is up and tweeting this morning on East Coast time. Snowfall reports. It looks like the further north you were, you got hit the hardest. So our highest snow total, Bennington, 8.9 inches.
Ooh, oh boy.
4 miles southeast of Bennington reported 8.9 inches of snowfall. Boys Town area, 8.5 inches. The airport, 8.3 inches. Omaha definitely hit harder than Lincoln in Snowmageddon 2026.
Oh, that's interesting because the way that it started, I mean, the amount of people in Lincoln that were claiming that they had already 8 inches at that point, or 7 inches.
It's just so hard to tell because the wind was blowing so
Right.
hard and the drift it was so bad. But yeah, it looks like
It's like I'm in Bennington and I didn't have like that, but where it drifted, I had more than that.
definitely.
But for the most part, like it wasn't that bad. It just the drifting really like
Throws
I
off.
could have driven over it,
Yeah.
but it would have been more work to do so.
I plowed right through it my driveway this
Yeah.
morning. I had not a care in the world.
At least there's no ice or anything. It's just snow. It's easy to
We'll see.
remove.
It's a lot of it though. So the further north you were, it looks like you got hit the hardest by this one. All right, we are off and running on a Friday. Thanks for being with us, everybody. We will come back and continue on with Happer and Schaefer right here on 1620 The Zone. All right, morning. And welcome back. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Kevin says good morning. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning to everybody who's faithfully in the YouTube chat this time of the morning. We appreciate it. Forgot to mention some other things that we have coming up on the show today. We're going to try. I don't know if we'll do this every Friday, but we have enough ideas that just got put off to this point where we could do a college football Friday topic potpourri.
Yeah.
So we're going to put all those into a big cauldron, stir it around, and see what we get coming up in a little while.
If people have some other things, I mean, these are largely non-Nebraska stuff because we're going to be talking a lot about
that's
Nebraska
a different segment
in general because Matt Rule spoke and Rob Orich spoke and Dana Holgerson spoke and Justin Evans spoke and there's one other person.
Yeah, there was more. There was like 7 of them that spoke yesterday.
Yeah, so there's
no,
plenty
there was
of
5.
Nebraska.
Orich, Evans, Holgerson, Marshall, Rule.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the other player. I knew there was 5.
Andrew Marshall.
I knew there was one defensive player, and I thought I could not get to Andrew Marshall with that one, but we'll have all of that. But if you have college football at large, we're going to talk some playoff because of Tony Petitti.
Thanks, Tone.
I have a question about one very notable college football quarterback and what he has to do.
You do.
For people to not just dunk on the entirety of his career.
Notable to some.
I mean,
notable if you listen to the college football hawks or the non-college football hawks.
There'd be no way that you wouldn't know of his existence if you consumed any.
But I don't really think about this person.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, and that we'll get into that.
We'll get
as well.
We will. So if you have something that you'd like to bring to the potluck, go ahead and send it our way.
Ooh, I like that. The college football potluck.
402-951-1620. College football topic potluck Friday. It's sort of a mouthful, but
that is a lot.
We'll work through it. By the way, you could tweet at us at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on Twitter. Email in the Equitable Bank inbox, Connor, Mike, Joey, 1620thezone.com. Once again, that's the Equitable Bank inbox. They take banking personally, although I'm sure Doug got out. Doug was at the airport the other day.
Yeah, he got out of that.
He
snow.
was getting out of here. He's like, this snow's coming. I'm going to somewhere warm.
He's in Hawaii.
Peace.
Do you think he has one of those setups where he gets to work calls to his cell phone so he can still answer on the first ring?
Hopefully.
We should try it.
Otherwise,
answering at 2 a.m. in the morning over in Hawaii.
I guess we do have his phone number. And thanks for watching us along with us today on the YouTube. Elsewhere, maybe this is the day we get to Schaefer's Creighton question.
Probably not.
Who knows?
I'm doubting it, but
yeah, it doesn't seem
there's
likely.
a low probability for today.
We should have a sign that says days since Schaefer posted the Creighton question.
A legitimately good Creighton
It's a great question. It's a great
not
Creighton
antagonistic,
question.
not designed to offend people. Genuinely interested in the pulse of Creighton fans over this.
All right,
Just curiosity from Schaefer.
You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do.
I think we save it for next week.
What?
Wow.
I thought you wanted to talk about it.
You spent the entire week complaining that we have not gotten to this topic, and now you're
complaining.
Now you're willing to set it aside and see how tomorrow's game
we have
plays
enough
out.
other stuff today. That's the thing.
We probably do. Yeah. All right. Well, I could just throw it on the sheet right now, and we'll just hack out 15 minutes for it.
You could.
I could.
I'll leave it up to you. You're in charge.
All right. Well, TBD. We'll get into some of the things that were said well, I guess this is pre-practice. They don't practice till tomorrow in Nebraska football, but many spoke.
The opening spring press conference.
Oh, there was a lot of conversation about there was at least 4 follow-up questions on I can't believe you're changing the practice times. We're changing the practice times. We have such a great knack for wanting to know more things about things that don't matter.
Well, it matters to the
Topic
people
alert.
that cover it because they build their entire day around
I
that.
guess so, but
I get why you wouldn't care. I also understand why they would care over there. I don't know that it warrants multiple follow-ups.
What if Matt Rule yesterday was like, hey, we're going to practice in the afternoon now, and the follow-up questions start to come, and eventually he's just like, Guys, I mean, like, what's the big deal? I wanted to. It's my program. I wanted to. That's an acceptable answer to me.
He could have.
That's a great answer, actually.
I don't know. Like, were the questions weren't like combative?
No, but there was like 3 of them in a row. And then I look at the headlines for what was said yesterday, and it's like Matt Rule moving practice back to afternoons. Yeah. I'm like, that's not going to make me click. I do not click on this link.
I think like you don't give enough credit to the idea that there are literal people that will spend their Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays waiting for this information to come out to consume it, either watching the press conferences while they're at work or they're at home or whatever else. Like, so there's like general interest as to when these things will happen because people spend their time doing it.
Yeah, but that's just people who want to get impressions on Twitter.
No. I'm not talking about the media.
No, I'm not.
I'm talking about the
either.
people now consuming.
I'm not either. I'm talking about the people who are consuming it too. There's like 5 people who are like getting clips out from the damn press conference. You know,
that topic the other day really got.
They just sit there and they just
that topic and this topic combined are a bad combination.
I think the number of people we're talking about here is like 7 to 12.
I assure you, it's more than that.
I think if you told these people, I'm so sorry, the information is not going to be coming out until 6:00 in the evening now, that they will be okay. They will survive.
Oh, they'll survive. I'm just saying, like, people legitimately plan things around this because that's of interest to them.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, again, just coming from a world where I know what the numbers look like when it's a Monday press conference.
You do.
And the people are online waiting for their information. So like, I'm just saying there's more interest in this than you probably are willing to.
Yeah, there probably is. Maybe what I'm saying is that there shouldn't be. Just chill out.
I would not dispute that.
Yeah.
I just know that we also cover a team where when a wide receiver has a screw put into his foot because he's having surgery and he breaks his foot or whatever, there are going to be people who want to know if it's a wooden screw, the type of screw, the length of screw. Like, that was a
wooden screw.
No, like that was legitimately this is such a unique thing when that was the whole conversation about DeMornay Piersonell on a message board.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
what
like
kind
it was
of
just
screw is in
two
his
people.
foot?
Yes. It wasn't like it was just 2 people. It was then devolves into this whole conversation. And you have all these people who come from different walks of life, and you have people that are in orthopedics and everything else, and they're weighing in as to what matters and what doesn't matter. And I'm just sitting back here like, man, the guy has a foot injury and he's out for a while.
Yeah,
that's like full stop. The most important part of all of it.
He had a debilitating, massive leg injury, and he will not be on the football field for a year. Thank you. That's all the information I need.
Right.
That's all I need.
But there are people who want
screw.
more.
I don't need
so
the wooden
there's
screw.
Obviously going to be people who are like, well, why are they practicing now? And what does it mean for them? And why do they think this will help? And etc. There's always a bunch of whys.
Why don't they get a special screw?
I'm telling you, that was my
that's crazy.
I believe
that's crazy.
But that's the level of interest and fandom that exists out there.
Yeah.
And it's not just like unusual to Nebraska but there's just levels that people go deeper than others.
Let's see. Oh, well, okay. So we'll talk about all of the Husker stuff as we go on throughout the show today as well. Elsewhere, excuse me. The Gare Bears are getting closer and closer by the day. It seems.
It's hilarious.
Are we a little concerned that it wouldn't actually be the Gare Bears based on the community?
Obviously,
it's going to be Hammond.
Yeah,
I know. I looked this up. I looked
at
the distance between Hammond and Gary.
Yeah,
it's like about 10 miles.
I'm willing to continue to call them the Gare Bears, but I know that it's not quite as meaningful.
I still think you could go with the Mississippi River Bears, but
even though they're not going to the Quad Cities,
it wouldn't be near the
Great Lake Bears.
The Great Lake Bears.
The Chicago Land. I want them to put land in there so it becomes the Chicago Land Bears.
Look, I know we'll talk about this later. That would be a wild move A city as proud as Chicago for the things that it wraps its arm like it. Chicago loves itself, right? Like insulated in and of itself. I mean, listen to young Matt do the midday show. Matt loves Chicago. Matt is of Chicago, and he wraps around his arms all things Chicago. If the Bears, I know they would still be the Chicago Bears,
right,
and they would be Chicago's team. There's no doubt about it. But for them to actually leave the city limits and leave the lakefront is absolutely nuts.
To leave the state.
Yeah, that's
hilarious. I'm enjoying every minute of this.
Like you call them the New York Giants and the New York Jets, but they play in the Meadowlands, and it's always odd to me.
It's very weird.
They play in New Jersey, and this would be the same thing. I know for Joey and I, there would be like this sort of hilarity to the whole thing that just adds to it. Like, the funny. Chicago Bears of Indiana.
This is what happens when you put Kevin Warren in charge of your franchise.
100%.
We have basketball this weekend. Jays and Johnny's. Speaking of New York at MSG, maybe we should call John and get a food report. I saw you had a good piece of pizza yesterday, and
it would be very interesting.
New Haven style pizza yesterday. They
what
practiced
is he
at Yale.
Spend his day doing today?
Great question. I mean, they'll go somewhere and practice and be there, but I don't know.
Does John go and watch practice?
If he wants to.
Yeah.
If it was me, I would, because I'd be bored.
Sure.
I would just go to practice with them and come back and then do whatever else. But as he said when he was on with us yesterday, they're at a hotel that's not near MSG / not near like your idea of New York, like it's in Lower Manhattan, and there's nothing around there that you could really do except for stay in your really, really nice hotel. So I hope John gets out, takes a cab to Midtown, and does something today. And then we have the Huskers and the weird Nittany Lion growl this weekend. Wow.
I forgot that bit from
very exciting.
Like, I don't know if it was Northwestern. There was once a radio show where I think you did that growl more than you actually spoke words.
Well, the Penn State one, I had a tweet with a lot of impressions on my when I just did the lion growl into my phone one time. And
that's right.
People now know me for it for some reason, which is I'm excited about it. That's a good thing. We won the hockey gold medal. Did you hear about this?
It was a 3-on-3 in overtime.
Highlights of it.
It was a 3-on-3 in overtime.
I did not see it live.
We got revenge over the Canadians from 4 years ago. So that's exciting. And the media, the college basketball media mob does mock brackets yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
We're very, very excited about the mock brackets.
We're excited for Nebraska and Buffalo.
Joey's just going to keep.
I mean, Buffalo's still better than not playing somewhere, right, Joey?
That is true, Joey. You have to admit that.
That is true.
I would rather go to Buffalo than nowhere.
I mean,
but it's much farther than Husker fans are expecting to be.
And then will the show cover the crown? Or are we going to have to make that decision?
I don't think so. We will not cover the crown.
Creighton's playing there. John's on the call, but we're not going to cover it.
John's on the call with the Burger King crown.
We may make mention of it.
Okay.
We may make.
I guarantee we will talk about the crown.
But cover it. No, we will not be there. I will.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Will you discuss the crown?
Yes. Which, to be fair, I did last year, all the way up until they won, and then I ignored it. As a bit.
Weird.
As a bit.
Everything's a bit. It's all a bit.
And it was only for like 90 minutes, too. And people got very angry.
I would imagine. I would imagine.
I guess that's...
They wanted their just desserts of being crowned champions.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't serve them.
We got some text here that we can get to. Here is Gus Mohawk is asking about practice and what time. He says, I always hear 90s guys like Farley and Jackson talk about practicing later in the day during the heat of the day. When do most teams practice? I don't know. Ask Matt Rule. He is an expert on this. He talked about how he researched all of these different things and I don't know. Once again, he could have just said, we're going to practice at evening. Get used to it. Sorry.
You were around when Mike Riley changed it to the morning, right?
I was around when last time they changed it. Yeah.
But I mean, you were in the media. And
no, it was Frost.
No,
Frost changed it to the morning.
Riley moved it
I remember
last year.
I remember Riley post practices being at like 6:00 at night.
His last year, they pushed to get it to them. Like they changed the whole schedule around to make it happen. I thought.
Huh.
I thought it was 2017.
I thought that was
and then
Frost.
the big thing was like, maybe it was only spring that they were able to do this for the mornings for 2017. I'd have to go back and look, but
no, because I remember talking to Diaco at like 6:00 at night.
he might be right on that. It might have only been spring practice.
It was Frost because Frost had the whole big deal about changing the classes.
Riley wanted it in the morning. I know that, and then that was like this whole thing of
he didn't have the
well,
political
this is
capital
kind of
to
how
do
it's
it.
all set, and all the classes are set this way.
Classic.
And the tutors and everything, you know.
And then Frost came in and he was like, I don't care. Figure it out. This is what I want. And I'm going to get everything I want. Text from the 515.
Did Bill Moose write about this in the Crab Creek Chronicle?
I hope that he did, but I haven't read it. I've only seen clips.
Amazing.
From the 515, they can practice at midnight. It doesn't matter. Thank you, texter from the 515. I appreciate that.
They lift at 4 a.m. sometimes.
They get up early. They stay up late. They have their football athletic facility with a Starbucks in it. You know, I was surprised Starbucks was open this morning when I was driving down Dodge Street, and I was like, I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to get some at the local coffee place, and I wasn't thinking. And of course, they were not open when I rolled.
So now you don't have coffee.
Now I am coffeeless. That's why I ate a bag of Gardettos. They will be replacing.
Oh, is that like the coffee replacement? Do you get a little juiced up eating Gardettos?
It's the best I got.
Fair.
It's the best.
Could you not make is there not coffee to be made here in the office?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Okay.
I don't want to try. I'm scared.
That's where our coffee makers.
I might blow something up. All right. So we have all of those topics today coming up on the show. So our city of the day is coming up next. I'll tell you what our city of the day is today. It is Oxford, Ohio. And that is home of the undefeated Miami of Ohio Redhawks, who remain undefeated. We were a little bit concerned that we were going to jinx them and they were going to take a loss before we actually did this segment because we had to push it a week because our next guest was out of town last week. But 5 regular season games remaining to complete a 31-0 season, potentially. And so we want to focus in and zone in on Oxford, Ohio. And to do that, we have a current city councilman of Oxford, Ohio, and former mayor, servant of Oxford, Ohio. Hopefully he can tell us good things about it. I'm very curious as to what questions we're going to ask.
Yeah.
We're going to just vibe it out with Bill Snavely, who gives us all of the details on Oxford, Ohio when we return. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. I actually want to remind you of something before we go. How about Joe Coy in the Metro this spring? Just Being Coy Tour, Friday, April 17th at the Holland. Enter online 1620thezone.com for your chance to win your way into the show. Also, stay tuned. You will have opportunities today, or a opportunity, I should say, to win Timber Creek Pizza Pub and Grill vouchers. One voucher for $50. So stay tuned for that. We'll tell you how you can do it as we go on throughout the show today. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you this morning as Omaha is covered in about 8 to 9 inches of snow, depending on where you're at. Hope you're driving safely out there. And if you're new to the game, if you're new to Happer and Schaefer, we'd like to introduce you to a segment called City of the Day. This is where we randomly pick a city or semi-randomly pick a city. The reason that we go to Southwest Ohio today and pick out Oxford, Ohio, is because of your undefeated Miami of Ohio Redhawks, who continue to get no love from the college basketball honks. But we watch them routinely here on this show, and we are happy to be joined by former multiple-time mayor and current city councilman Bill Snavely on the hotline now. Good morning, Bill. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll start here, I guess. Well, let's start with Miami of Ohio, the basketball team. What is that meant? What has that done? How much spotlight has that brought to Oxford over the last several weeks here?
Well, first of all, it's Miami University.
Okay,
so
I'm
nobody
sorry.
here calls it Miami of Ohio.
I know. I got to get out of that because I do that often.
That's okay. Almost everybody does outside of Ohio. But, we were founded in 1809, and the other one was founded in 1925. So we got 116 years on that.
That's what I'm talking about. Screw the other Miami. Absolutely.
That's a common sentiment around here.
Yes.
I mean, and they're in Coral Gables, for crying out loud. They're not even in Miami.
Great
So
point.
anyway, the town is out of control. They're just so excited. And I know that Lincoln was for a while when Nebraska was undefeated. It's exciting, and there's a lot of attention. All of our games are sellouts, and that's what everybody in town is talking about.
So, what's when did kind of the fervor really sort of start with the basketball thing? Because I think this maybe there was the expectation of a solid season, but I don't know that the fans were going in expecting to be undefeated. What are they, 26-0 currently?
26-0 currently, yeah. It didn't start immediately. I have season tickets, so we were there during the early season when we were outside the conference. And other schools did know that Miami might be a good school because none of the power conference teams would play us. And so we ended up having a pretty ridiculous early season lineup of opponents. So we have a weak schedule. That said, we've just rolled through the Mid-American Conference, and there are a lot of teams here that are very good, and they keep going, and they find a way to win.
We're excited to talk to you while they're still undefeated. We thought that there was a chance that they might have lost in the last week or so.
A little concerned about that UMass game,
but hey, they're getting it done. So let's back up. So when we came up with this, this really dumb idea to do the City of the Day segment, we have both taken an interest in Miami University basketball, watching them occasionally and just checking in on them each night as they remain undefeated. And so we thought we would feature Oxford. And so we went to the city website and we kind of just scrolled at random. And we found your name, and wouldn't you know it, you are a graduate of the University of Nebraska. You got your doctorate from Nebraska? PhD. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. I'm a proud Cornhusker, buddy.
So how does this happen? I mean,
how does it happen?
I found your CV online, and I'm rolling through it. And you started at Illinois State, and then you're at West Virginia. How'd you end up at Nebraska?
Well, I got to Nebraska because my advisor and my master's program said, "This is the school for you." And my best friend and I said, "Yeah, why not?" And it was the 70s. So we went to Nebraska, and it was a great place to be. And we were both very happy to be in Lincoln. That's for sure.
Were people getting angry yet at Tom Osborne for having not won a national championship after taking over for Bob Devaney?
Yes, they were.
That's what I thought.
We had season tickets to football. I'll tell you though, interestingly, two things. One is I never went to a basketball game when I was at Nebraska. I was too busy with my studies, but we did go to football. Now, the other thing is you asked, how did I get to Oxford? I was done with my coursework and I got a call from them. And they said, would you be interested in coming into an interview in Oxford and at Miami University? And we had just been through a pretty significant winter. And I thought, palm trees, beaches, this sounds good. I said, yes. And then they said, and fly into Cincinnati, Ohio. And then I thought, oh my God, Ohio was on my list of 10 states never to live in. And I've lived here ever since.
Well, look at you now. I mean, you're Mr. Ohio. You're Mr. Oxford.
We love Oxford. We really do. I had a 10-year hiatus, an adventure in San Diego, which is a beautiful city. But as soon as I retired, we came back home to Oxford. It's home.
So what about it makes it home? Tell us more about Oxford just as a community.
Sure. It's a small town. We have about 25,000 people when the students are here. It is a place where people from the right and the left both get along pretty well. People help each other. It's friendly. You go to the one local grocery store, Kroger, and you can't get out of there without seeing somebody you know and talking with them. It's just a really friendly, awesome place. I've never been any place like it, to be honest.
What would you say outside of the university? What is Oxford known for? What should be the thing that Oxford is known for?
That's a hysterical question. We're known for Miami University. The city was founded in order to support the university. There is a Schneider Electric company here, and there's a lot of restaurants and bars, and yeah, it's a college town. It is the most college town I've ever been in. And I've been into a lot of them. My son went to Michigan. Ann Arbor is a great little college town, much bigger than Oxford. And they've got other things going on. Yeah, not so much in Oxford, although we're working on it.
So you were the mayor of Oxford, it looks like 3 separate times. What was your proudest achievement as mayor?
Well, I would say the first time we were in office and the second time we worked on a goal to have city parks. And we really didn't have any to speak of, and there's no place for the kids to play intramurals and t-ball and all that kind of stuff. And so we created a new uptown park. We have an uptown, not a downtown, because it's the highest spot in town. We also had a community park, which is beautiful. And there are 5 different baseball fields, soccer fields, an aquatic center, a playground for kids. So I was very proud of that. The most recent time I've been mayor, we've been focused on sustainability and housing for everybody and economic development. And so we've just passed an ordinance to have a low-income housing development in Oxford, and we're real happy about that.
Very good. Okay, so you're right in the middle of the Mid-American Conference is, there's a lot of schools in a very, very short area around you, in these towns that are sort of similar to Oxford. You look around and Muncie's right up the road, and there's a variety of different schools in Ohio as well. So we wanted to give you the floor of which city or MAC school do you have the most disdain toward, or would you like to say anything bad about?
Rivalry?
Yeah, biggest rivalry is a better way to put it. I guess go there first.
Okay, so when I was at Nebraska, my favorite teams were Nebraska and whoever played Oklahoma. Now that I'm in Oxford, my favorite teams besides Nebraska is Miami University and whoever plays Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. They're our number one rival for sure.
The Bobcats, huh?
The Bobcats, yeah. So I actually had a job offer from Ohio U, and I just couldn't go there because there's nothing around there. It's really in the boonies, and we're at least close to Cincinnati, but it's 2 hours from Columbus. That's the biggest city.
You're either an Oxford guy or an Athens guy, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really it. And I actually like Athens and Ohio U, but they're our rival, and yeah, there's no question. We have a game every year in football that's called the Battle of the Bricks because they were founded 1 year before Miami was, and they're also a lot of red brick. So the local joke around here is, where are you going to meet us? Well, I'm in this building, and it's the red brick one. And it's a joke because every building is red brick, pretty much.
Well, you got a big game in a couple weeks against Ohio to finish out the regular season.
Yeah,
they're gonna want revenge after what happened last Friday.
Well, they clearly are because we pretty well cleaned their clock. So I think it's always a big game, and the place will be rocking, and I hope you watch it on TV because it's going to be fun.
We most certainly will. Bill, we very, very much appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much for your time.
We know this is incredibly random, but thanks for doing it, and maybe we'll catch up down the road. We'll see.
I love Omaha. Love you guys. Thanks for calling.
Excellent. That is Bill Snavely, City Councilman, Oxford, Ohio, not Miami of Ohio, Miami University. Damn it.
Yeah, we should try to spear the sea of change, at least for Nebraska, and refer to it only as Miami University.
I was thinking, well, we could do that, and I was thinking that we can hook them up with like a sister city or something like that. Like we give them Hastings.
Hastings would be good.
Hastings probably same population.
Hastings, Columbus, Fremont, they're all kind of in that bin. Kearney with having sort of a university.
That's good.
Would fit as well. I'm good with any of them.
So I there's one thing I just realized. So Nebraska is hosting Miami next season, 2027, the next season.
That's right.
Week 2.
That's right. Because Nebraska now plays in the MAC.
Yeah, they replaced their.
They were playing Ohio. It hadn't occurred to me they were also playing Miami University.
They have Ohio and Bowling Green this year.
They're both Ohio teams.
And then in 2027 they get
Northern Illinois, Miami University, and Northern Iowa.
Wow.
And now Northern Illinois is not in that conference.
Well,
anymore.
yeah,
we should have asked him about that.
A great big Mountain West game.
Yeah.
Ask him if he's excited to travel to Sacramento State.
Just outside of Cincinnati, maybe maybe I'll take a drive. A little way up the road when I go to Prasco Park at the end of May and watch the Jays.
Do we take the show on the road and we do a show from?
It's not far up the road. I mean, it really isn't.
I now want to go to Oxford just because of this.
So the Big East tournament is in Mason, which is already north of the city. It's in a slightly different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mason is northeast and Oxford is northwest, but it doesn't feel like it would be that difficult to get there.
Okay.
Just something put in the back of your head.
A real possibility.
City of the day is off and running, baby. We are like a rocket ship at this point. City of the day is going to be our thing.
We will take submissions for future City of the Days.
We will. And people to talk to.
Yeah. I would love to attach someone to this. It makes it better.
It does.
To me.
It does.
And thank you so much to Bill Snavely for doing that. And just a complete random occurrence that occurs, when you select someone on a list and they just happen to be a 1977 doctorate graduate.
Unbelievable.
From the University of Nebraska.
Unbelievable. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky. All right. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Young the Giant is heading to Omaha this summer in the open tour with Cold War Kids, Monday, August 3rd at the Astro. Pre-sale tickets are on sale now with the code ZONE, but at 10 o'clock, they will go on sale to the general public, and you can enter online at 1620thezone.com for your chance to win your way into the show. That is Young the Giant. Got an email here on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox from Terry. Morning, Terry. Says, hi, guys. Thanks for the interview with Bill. It just goes to show that Nebraska fans and alums are everywhere. My buddies and I would go on an annual golf trip to the San Diego Temecula area and always run into Nebraska fans. GBR, Terry. Terry, you ain't wrong about that. That is legit. That is legitimately true.
The Mac School's got some fun cities in their own liking. You got Athens, you got Oxford, Ypsilanti.
Oh yeah, Ipsy with their penis water tower.
Mount Pleasant for Central Michigan, Bowling Green, Toledo, Akron.
Look at that, Joe.
Amherst, I think that's where UMass is at. Buffalo, where Nebraska may be at for the NCAA tournament.
People forget. Yeah. I think
you
got them all. I think you got all the MAC towns.
I think I did.
I'm impressed.
Well, and then Sacramento, California.
The newest, greatest MAC.
Yeah, Muncie, where Ball State's at, over in Indiana.
Muncie.
Oh, yeah, Kalamazoo for Western Michigan. Did not want to forget that.
Look at that. I don't even think I could name all the MAC teams if you put me on the spot.
I mean, I think I only could because I played as Akron in college football for most of the dynasty.
Kent, Ohio, where Kent State's at.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I forgot something.
I don't think I did. I wouldn't know if you did or didn't. I trust you with this stuff, Joey. Well done. But yes, Nebraska fans, Nebraska people are quite literally everywhere. I did not expect that we would find one on City of the Day, but here we are.
Yeah, that was terrific.
Indeed.
Indeed it was.
All right, so here we go. Let's hit our college football Friday topic potpourri. That's a lot of words, and I don't know if the name's going to catch on. Hell, I don't even know if we're going to be doing this every single week, but we have a bunch of college football topics that we have sort of put off until right now from throughout the week. These are non-Nebraska football topics, and so let's get to them. Like, first and foremost, the this will be a combined segment with the Big Ten's idiotic idea of the week. That was their beautiful 24-team college football playoff selection model. Remember all the names that they've given these things over the last couple of years as they try to figure this thing out? By the way, I love the point that Max made yesterday, and I think he's completely right, which is, boy, I really just don't care. You could throw whatever, newfangled thing you want at me. I wish that they would just come to an answer and then alert me when they do. But they've had a bunch of different names for this over the time in which they've been trying to figure out. This is officially the 23+1 model. The 23+1 model from the Big Ten. How do you think that goes? 23+1. So apparently the Big Ten has told the SEC, look, I like your 16, but there needs to be a guarantee that we go to 24 within 2 years. And the SEC is like, what? Why would we agree to that? Why would we do this? I don't know why each conference wants what it wants so badly. And I don't know why they can't agree on any of this stuff, but I suppose that is beside the point. It is, however, the reason we won't get an answer to this for a long time in the next iteration of the college football playoff contract. They laid it out, and with this year's standings and how it worked, a 24-team format would consist of the best 23 teams and one spot for the group of 6. There would be no automatic qualifiers, which have been the point of emphasis for the Big Ten in discussions last year. If the field grows to 24, sources have indicated that automatic qualifiers would matter less to the Big Ten. According to the document, the breakdown for this field, if it had been played out in 2025, would have been 7 SEC teams, 6 Big Tens, 5 Big 12s, 3 ACCs, and 2 group of 6s, and then Notre Dame obviously would have made it as well. 24, 8 teams get a bye. There would be 8 first-round games, all of them on campus, an extra week of home games with 8 second-round games also played on campus. That would mean that every single favored team, every single top team in the playoff would play at least one home on-campus playoff game, which I think is something that they're dangling out there for everybody. For example, Indiana, Miami, Indiana, who was the number 1 seed in the playoff this year, did not play a game at home in this year's or last year's college football playoff, and they won a national championship. So there you go. There's your stupid, idiotic idea for the college football playoff.
Is there like a this isn't just Joey related. Is there like a schedule attached as to how you make this work in any kind of succinct amount of time?
Yes.
Because currently a 12-team college football playoff takes them about a month. And so if you double the amount of teams effectively, like, are you going to start at the beginning of December and,
I'd imagine you're cutting out conference championship game. Okay, so here we go. In the, let's see. In the proposed 16-team format, this is the SEC's format, there would be 5 automatic qualifiers, 11 at-large teams, an idea that has been widely discussed. The 2 top teams would get buys in opening games. 16 versus 13 and 14 versus 15 will be played on the second week in December, likely sliding around the Army-Navy game. If you get into 24, obviously that, needs to add at least one more week to the playoffs, so maybe they'd be, moving everything up. There has been some talk, I think, before of moving the entire season like up a week, like so week 0 just becomes week 1. There obviously is that piece that is unclear. And to be completely honest with you, I haven't taken that much time to delve into because I just think this idea is so stupid.
I do have their optimal window.
Okay, go for it.
The optimal window to start the 24-team playoff would be the second weekend in December, which is Friday and Saturday, away from any NFL competition. It would address the long rest period that has emerged early in the 12-team playoff model with buys and extended layoffs. Teams with buys and extended layoffs went 1-7 the first 2 years of the CFP. And then it said the quarterfinals fall on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So similar to kind of what we have now, semifinals the week after, and then mid-January. So they basically, in order to do this, you just eliminate the first sort of 2.5 week layoff that exists there. It might be more than that. I guess the year ended like November 30th. They played December 20th, or some teams did December 21st. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it certainly just becomes then almost the NBA playoffs in its length of time.
Yeah.
Which
I hope here's what I hope. I hope they argue about this forever and they never come to a conclusion, and then we just stay at 12 because of it.
I just want to stay at 12.
I just want to stay at 12. I want to keep something, one thing. I want to keep one thing in college football how it is exactly untouched for like 12 to 15 years and just see what happens. I think people would be amazed with the results.
Yeah.
They would. It's like these people, they go and they plant a tree and they're like, I'm going to plant this tree. And then after 10 minutes, they go back inside, they come back out and they go, where's my bleeping tree? Where's the tree?
Technically the tree is there. It's just not big enough.
We have to change the tree. We have to change the manner in which the tree grows. We have to make this tree grow. Where is my tree? But if you leave it for 12 years, you might have a tree. You'll probably have a pretty good tree by that point. They are such idiots. I hate them.
Yeah, it just feels like such stupid posturing. Like it's
so stupid.
The other thing is, if you ever get to the point where we're in the next round of realignment, like what does this then look like if you have a 24-team playoff and you have, let's say, a total of 48 teams in your new super league or whatever you're doing?
Sure.
So half of it, or you're just starting over from scratch. So, like, I am very much with you. I want to get to the finish line. I don't want to have these discussions anymore. I want to know what eligibility is. I want to have a clear understanding of sort of how NIL is supposed to work. And then I just want to be able to watch the games. Like, I don't want to have these conversations. I understand shows like ours exist off of having these.
Sure.
But this
In the
isn't-
offseason, especially.
No part of me thinks that a team that is the 22nd best team in college football needs to be playing in a game to then have the opportunity to be the like 14th best team. And that, you know what I like?
Yeah.
I just don't, none of that should matter. And if it's about protecting anything that's left with the bowl system, figure out a way to do something else with that. Like, we've adjusted everything else. I just don't think we need 24 teams to crown a national champion. I didn't think we needed 12. I'm actually glad that they went to it. I wanted 8. 8 was like the number for me.
I always thought 8 was going to be the number 2.
It's nice and round, and it's very easy to have, a few rounds.
And they fell short of 8 at first, and they did 4 because they couldn't agree on going to 8. And then I just figured eventually we were going to get to 8. And for some reason, we went to 12.
And then it
and
turns
now
out
we're going to go to 24, actually, because 16 feels like the next most logical number.
But I don't even want 16 at this point. I'm just 12. Leave it at 12. I think we have a good thing here. I really do.
Just wait a couple years, and you'll have a tree. I promise. You'll get the tree. John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox. Is Kevin Warren secretly moonlighting and advising Petiti? This sounds dumb enough for him to have come up with. Maybe that's why we are 5 years into getting a new Bears stadium and still don't even know where it will be. A great point by John. It's possible. Petiti might be worse than Kevin Warren. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
I know this.
I never hear from this guy.
None of them are Jim Delaney.
That's right. And they will never be Jim Delaney.
That is true.
The almighty Jim. All right. College football Friday topic potpourri. Topic number 2. Schaefer, I'll let you toss it to us.
Yeah. So this sort of the idea behind this, and maybe it's just particularly the world that I used to work in, but have been hearing about Arch Manning forever. And his recruitment was massive, and his high school, just profile was massive, even though he barely played games at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was sort of geared to whoever gets this guy is getting a generational quarterback, and et cetera, et cetera. He ends up at Texas, and he's behind Quinn Ewers, and there's a debate. There's a debate as to whether he should be even behind this guy or not. And then he gets in and plays a little bit, 2 years ago. He's fine. Nothing about it is particularly special. Last year's his first year as a starter. Starts the year against Ohio State with an absolute dud. Well, it's Ohio State. It's going to get better. It never really does. It's not terrible.
Was fine.
He was exactly
fine.
that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about the prince that is promised from quarterback play, and when your last name is Manning, and I understand that it's not Peyton or Eli's son, but the expectation and with everything else that has been discussed, this guy should be really good. He should be really special. And it hasn't worked out in that way. And yet you go through this season and you think, okay, well, now that people have kind of seen him, we have an understanding of it. Surely we won't be in this position where we're going to be talking about how outstanding Arch Manning is going to be and how he's definitely going to be the number 1 pick and all of this stuff. None of that has happened. It's like we didn't learn anything from the year prior. And Texas is in a lot of places viewed as the top team in the country.
Yep.
Arch Manning's Heisman odds, I don't know what they are exactly, but I'm sure that they are very, very low relative to what his production would be.
I imagine he would be the favorite. Let me take a look.
I think the Dante Moore would be the favorite.
So
he's co-favorite
right now I'm looking at FanDuel. CJ Carr plus 800, Arch Manning plus 950.
CJ Carr, what's
CJ
more?
Carr? Dante Moore plus 1,300. That's like 6th on the list.
Wow. Okay.
Behind 2 Ohio State guys and Indiana's new
that one
Josh
game
Herbert.
against Indiana just tanked his.
Yeah, they hate him.
I mean,
now.
he's the best quarterback returning on arguably one of the 3 best teams.
So he's in the. So
That's wild.
Arch is in the conversation. So like, if you look at these Heisman guys, right, the best quarterbacks in the country are viewed to be Arch Manning, CJ Carr, Julian Sayin, Dante Moore, Darian Mensah, Gunnar Stockton, Sam Levitt, Brendan Sorsby. You can go further beyond that. Marcel Reed, Jaden Mayava. And then you get to Lenora Sellers, which if you buy the Lenora Sellers stuff now, like you may have been asleep for a year. He was horrible last year. Anyway. So I like you could probably make the argument to me that he could be in that group. He doesn't have the bona fides to prove it. But he yet sits at the top of it as it pertains to his perception and stuff like that. So I that's what you're saying, right?
So the question that I'm ultimately building up to is like, what does Arch Manning have to do? And he would have 2 more years if he wants it. We'll see if he goes after this year. There's been talk that he's going to play all the way through his senior year.
Arch is going to stay in college.
We'll see what happens. But what does he have to do to not be just viewed as sort of this? I don't even know if bust would be the right term, because it's hard to, if he showed up in college and they win a national championship, he's not going to be a bust. If he wins a Heisman, he's not going to be a bust. He's the number 1 overall pick. He's not going to be a bust. But like, short of that, I don't know. It doesn't feel like any of those things are all that obtainable to me for him. Maybe the number 1 pick, but I don't think he's going to be a Heisman quarterback. You look at what he did last year.
What if he's like first team all big or all SEC, And
I think that might be the height of what it is.
The SEC is not a particularly strong quarterback league. Although there's a few guys out there.
It feels like it's a lot of guys where you like talk yourself into things.
Correct.
And then you step back from it and you're like, I don't know if you're as good as
do you think that's attainable?
I think so.
I think so too. And then there will be some discussion about whether
some tough competition against Joey Aguilar and Tristan Chambliss.
So there were Trinidad. There will be some discussion on like what is his worth compared to what he gets talked about and stuff like that. But I don't know, like I don't feel like it's that difficult because the bar is high for him in terms of the public perception, but I think in terms of like the draft stuff, the bar's kind of low.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of the Dylan Raiola conversation.
Right. It's like you guys, you don't really have to do much because we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt at every turn to be an NFL quarterback. And even if it doesn't work out for you in college, like even if you're horrible this year, probably still going to get a crack because people have already told themselves that the talent is there. So I think as far as a college football player, what you are describing is absolutely going to is already happened.
I don't expect him to win the national title, even though Texas will be highly ranked and they spent a ton of money in the portal and have tried to assemble as close as they can to a super team. You look through his performance and there's no reason that he can't get better, and maybe he will get demonstrably better. The teams that he assaulted were all the worst defenses they played. I mean, he put up this is DJ Lagway all over again.
Ooh,
like his big games were against the horrible teams, and then his sort of mediocre games were against the very good ones. And so he finished his year nicely with performances against Michigan, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. But Arkansas is where he throws for nearly 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. That was one of the worst defenses in the country. Vanderbilt has a great game against Vanderbilt, one of the worst defenses in the country. So
I think there's a pretty good chance that we end up in that spot with him. Yeah. He's just going to be very, very talked about. He's going to be a celebrity quarterback and just be a fine college.
And you're going to spend the entire time like, is this guy even
right? He's fine.
8th best quarterback in college?
Yeah. Maybe.
And I don't know that the answer to that is going to be yes.
I don't think so.
And so it fascinates me because we're just going to spend, or not we probably won't spend.
I will never talk about him. Yeah.
But it will be talked about all over the place.
Yeah. Which is great because just ignore it. It's awesome.
It just feels like it has to be.
Yeah. Final question in the potpourri. Who will pull a Penn State in 2026? Pulling a Penn State is putting all your resources into winning a national championship and then being ass.
Well, in maybe a bit more terms than just ass. Like basically your coach gets fired, you are expected to be in the college football playoff and you come nowhere near it.
Mm-hmm. Now, off base, I think we should say that situation is pretty unique. I wouldn't expect.
Usually, so I would basically say miss the college football playoff and coach is fired.
Usually, when teams fall off, it's more of that and not like we're going to go 6-6 and everything is going to blow up. Now they didn't do that either. I suppose they kind of bounced back at the end of the year, but it was too far gone by that point. They lost to Northwestern at home, right? So I think you have to like acknowledge that it's an unlikely scenario to be exactly like Penn State. With that being said, we're basically just looking for who's your national championship contender that's overrated.
I don't even know if I think that this team is a national championship contender, though they would think that they are. They made the college football playoff. And I've been like beating this drum, and so I'm going to go back to it's like my anti-Penn State. For years, I would pick Penn State to break through. Now, for years, I'm just fading Oklahoma. I don't believe in it. I don't believe they even deserve to be in the college football playoff this year, let alone, that they were that good. I think the expectation is that they should return. I think Brent Venables won't have a job by the end of next year. I think he will be let go.
Are they like
they have John Mateer coming back? They have their defense largely coming back. Like
is anybody talking about them though? So I'm looking at one preseason top 25 right now. Way too early, whatever.
Right.
And they have them at 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not the exact same as Penn State.
What the hell? They have Indiana at 8. What is CBS doing?
Well, they have them at 8 because they don't have Mendoza.
Yeah, but they'll get a new Mendoza.
They
got him. Hoover is going to be better.
There's just the doubt. There's the doubt that they can continue to do this.
Why? They already did it once. I'm over it.
Because no one understands how they did it.
Yeah, well, figure it out. They just keep doing it. They've done it 2 years in a row.
I'm just explaining you to where this comes from.
These are weirdos. Can I bounce Oregon off of you very quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hesitate to go all in on the Oregon's going to win the national championship thing this year, even though I think that's probably going to be the popular pick with getting more. I mean, unconventionally getting more back, right? Like he was going to be a top 5 pick in the draft and he comes back, which is pretty absurd. And then
he passed on $50 million.
Everybody loves Lanning and they're talented.
They just added Coy Parrish, so they have an unbelievable safety.
I guess I don't know how their schedule lines up for the year, but I always just fade that kind of team, like the team that everybody looks at and says, "Oh yes, I agree. They're going to be really, really good this year, and they're going to win the national championship for sure." I'm sure they're still going to be really, really good, but I don't know. I have my doubts that they can.
Do you think it could end in Lanning being fired?
No, I do not.
I thought the other team that would sort of be obvious here,
Lanning would not be fired.
They probably shouldn't have made the college football playoff either. Is a team that Oklahoma played. That's Alabama. It feels like there's enough already doubt about Kalen DeBoer that if they don't make it back and make a run in the college football playoff,
he could definitely be fired.
He could be let go. That's maybe the most tenuous of those. Otherwise, I mean, Joey McGuire is not going anywhere. Ryan Day, if he goes anywhere, it's to the NFL.
How about Laken Riley? Could he end up somewhere else after this year?
I mean, I thought there was like some interesting conversation about him with the Michigan job, which would have been a really weird fit to me. I know that there's always been a fascination with him in the NFL, but that seems like it's cooled off. I feel like USC either has to really sort of break through, or it does feel like they could be susceptible to kind of that fall apart season.
Interesting. Okay, that's our college football topic potpourri, and we will continue to address those topics as we go on throughout the offseason. We'll be back. Schaefer, we got 10 minutes. Should we do your Creighton question? This is where I was going to plug it in for.
We can do it.
Schaefer's Creighton question. We have to do it next on 1620 The Zone. All right, we've now had the Creighton question on the rundown for so long. Well, I actually took it off at one point. I refreshed it at this week. At the start of this week, I took it off, but we knew it was in the back of our head. And then I forgot the Creighton question. I forgot. I can't wait for you to ask it because I can't wait to remember it.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, it was written as sort of a question as to how fans feel about the fact that if Creighton, Greg McDermott decides to step away, you already know who your next coach is in Alan Huss. And so there's no like big, oh, what are they going to do at coach? There's probably no real big switch as to what the program looks like or how it really even operates. And so then it's that kind of the framework of this more or less is how do people feel about that? And are they wanting that to start next year? Do you want more McDermott or do you want him to have another season with this group? Obviously what happened on Wednesday could change how people would sort of view this. This was probably asked after one of the kind of mind-numbingly bad losses.
Yeah.
It might have been after the Marquette one or right around that time. And so the general idea is the other part is Creighton's done this with baseball. And they brought in
I'd call that I would refer to that as a very different situation.
Well, it is, but it's still unique in that like they went and they had a head coach or a coach in waiting that's just hanging around the program as the current coach is still there. Now with McDermott, a little bit different. These guys know each other, work together, all of that.
Yep.
And Huss is an assistant right now. It's so unique. Like you just don't see this anywhere else. And so to have kind of two examples of it, just kind of interested in how Creighton fans feel about how all of this has transpired and then sort of where they are at with, do you want to accelerate to the end game this season now, or do you really know what you want with the McDermott Huss scenario?
Who do I want to be the coach next year? Is that the question?
Effectively,
yeah.
You know, and then the thing with Huss is that he was at High Point, and I don't know how many players we're in this era where if a coach leaves, it's how much of their team goes with them. Now, basketball, a little bit different in that regard. You might get one or two players. What does that look like from a transfer portal perspective if Creighton makes this switch and like, yeah, Huss has been around and he's a Creighton guy, but it's not the same as like, oh, I'm going to go play for McDermott. I'm going to go play for this guy who's been a really good coach for the last X amount of years.
I think he's had a pretty heavy hand in the recruiting piece this year. And that is very purposeful. And not only has he had a heavy hand,
I think you'd have to, right?
I think Mac has probably had a lighter hand in the recruiting stuff.
All of which makes sense. If this guy is going to ultimately be the one that's doing the cooking, you want to be the one picking up the ingredients.
And Huss has been here before, and he has, he knows how to sell Creighton, and he went here, and he's been an assistant here, and then he's going to be the head coach here. And so I'm not worried about that part. And there's definitely, he brought one guy with him from High Point, and he hasn't been a factor the entire year because he's been in college for 8 years and has had several debilitating injuries. So he's not Liam McChesney. He hasn't been a piece of it really at all. So I don't expect they'll go into that well, really. He did bring one assistant with him, Mike Nesbitt. So no, I think the expectation is that whenever Huss takes over, it's just
seamless.
It's just sort of a continuation. Yeah.
Are people okay with that though?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but yes. Yeah. For me, hard yes. I mean, yeah, I think what they're doing is, it works for Creighton. It now has become a part of the DNA. I think, and I guess I'd be lying to you if I told you that there wasn't a thought in the back of my head, and I think people would say this too, of like, oh, well, it is different, and it doesn't there's no guarantee that it does work. It's not.
There's never a guarantee.
It's not automatic that he is that he's going to be good, or that Creighton's going to continue to be good, or whatever it might be. Of course, it's not, and so there always is a worry about that. But I'm I take that out of, do I want to start the future now or do I want to start the future in a year?
Yeah.
Like I really don't care. I
How are you're like ambivalent on this? I
don't know what my priority is here. I want,
it's like you almost don't want to have to state an opinion on it.
no.
Not that you're worried about stating, but it's like
I'm trying to figure
you're
out.
fine. If I'm talking for you on this, feel free to let me know if I'm completely off base. But it seems like you're sort of fine if it were to happen. If it weren't to happen,
Yeah.
you don't feel like it's in your jurisdiction to really even offer whether it should or shouldn't.
Well, first of all, I don't know. I don't think anybody has any inclination one way or the other.
That's an entirely different thing.
And the second thing is, like, I don't know what Mac would have to see or not see in order to make that decision. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he knows, and I don't know what he's looking for in order to, like I said, make that decision to come back.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out what I want to prioritize, and I think my first, I guess, priority would be that Mac goes out
On his own terms.
That is not a question. That's happening. But I mean, like, happy, right? Like,
Sure.
that he leaves this place with good, really, really good feelings, as good feelings as he could possibly have. And that sort of depends on how this season ends and how next season goes. If he's back next season, I think that's my number one priority.
Yeah.
Is that weird to say? I don't know, because it's not. They're not basketball related, because I just don't think it'll be. I don't think what they're doing is going to be all. It's going to look or feel all that different. They have different personalities and they're different people. But from a basketball standpoint, maybe there will be a little bit of a harder edge to it with Huss, because I think that's where he's found some success in his career. But you know, he played here and he coached under Mac for a while and then went to High Point and had a bunch of success.
Right.
You know, like, that's kind of been the run for him. There's a chance he's not good. There's a chance of that, but I don't expect the philosophy to change.
Do you have any like apprehension at all that if McDermott were to come back and then you have a better season than this season, but it's not, let's say it's still short of an NCAA tournament season
Next year,
then you effectively have this like 2-year run of where you already know who the next coach is, but you haven't really accomplished much of anything. I feel like at that point, I guess I don't know that there could be anything beyond next year for McDermott.
I don't feel like
I mean, it has to either be this year or next year.
That's how I've always felt about it.
So is there any apprehension with that idea? That if you just continue down this path and you don't have success next year, it changes how you might feel about everything.
My guess would be if he says, I'm coming back after this year, it would be paired along with and next year is my last year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he likes that because he doesn't like the attention of it and all that stuff.
Well, and then it turns into the whole thing becomes like the retirement tour,
but
which to me is really awkward in sports.
Yeah.
I find it odd when a guy comes out and tells you, and then you have to give him in Cleveland, they give him the stupid guitar from when
they give him a little rocking chair.
I'm much more of the guy just retires at the end of it. Like, I prefer that. Yeah. Because otherwise it just feels like it's a little bit much. Like, everybody's got to do something for
and he's definitely
Miguel Cabrera.
And he's definitely
that's not his personality.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. So I don't know. Or maybe it would be halfway through next year. But I agree with you. I don't think this goes past next year. That would be my guess. Although I don't know. It's been on people's minds. And you're around and people will come around and they'll be like, what do you think about this? And I tell them, like, I genuinely don't have
it's wild.
I genuinely don't have a breeze one way or the other, because, well, either A, they don't talk about it, or B, they do a really good job of not talking about it or not thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mac is really good at that. He keeps the main thing, and he really truly doesn't want it to be about him. And so I don't know if I don't think, based off my eyes, I don't think that decision has really been weighing on him much. this year, although the season has gone sort of sideways in a lot of different ways. Like it's hard to imagine he hasn't thought about it more. But I don't know. Like I really don't know. And I don't know how much of a difference it makes one way or the other.
See, that's wild to me because there's no part in my mind that thinks it couldn't make some level of difference if you going from
what you don't want to do is
McDermott
lose
to
Huss. You don't
Right.
you don't want to lose Huss. So if he stays around for another year or 2 years or like whatever, like you can't that can't happen, right? So that's a primary goal, obviously, this whole thing as well. But I don't think they're any in danger of doing that.
Yeah, I assume they have some kind of an agreement, and he's
Sure.
being paid maybe more than you would be in this role otherwise.
Definitely.
To make that happen. It's more so just like, I guess to me, when you already know what's supposed to happen next and you're going through a season like this, the natural inclination is let's just accelerate to this end game at that point in time, which to your point doesn't necessarily allow McDermott to maybe go out as he would want after the sort of career that he's had here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking about it more, and
that's why it was always a little bit surprising to me that he came back for this season, because it just felt like last year was the natural endpoint of a specific run of time for Creighton.
Yeah,
and
it definitely was.
And this was going to be, and it felt like a sort of the natural breaking point, if you would be.
Yeah, I think I don't know this, but my read is the reason that he came back is because not because he wanted to give it one more run with a group of guys, with a specific group of guys or prove anything to anybody. But the biggest feeling was I want to make sure the program is on steady footing. And I want to make sure that we're in a good spot whenever I do hand the reins over.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's where you could get into the conversation of how this year finishes is important. And if they do feel like,
I think their next handful of games are massively important, just to sort of,
if they feel like they're on steady footing, then that
and determine who you want back.
It's
like,
who
do you want to be part of?
But I'm just as far as the coach and the transfer of power thing. Like, if you feel like you're on steady footing, then that makes that probably a little bit easier. I think that's his main priority.
Yeah,
I think that's his main thing.
What's your hunch? What's your guess?
My guess is
what happens.
My guess is one more year.
One more year. What about you, Joey?
I say one more year as well.
Is that what you want? I assume.
I want to see one more year. This has been a up and down year considering the expectations. Creighton started the season ranked 23rd. It's not gone the way they expected it to be.
Not getting to Buffalo.
Not getting to Buffalo. That's the most important thing. But yeah, I think Mac would want to give it one more year just to see where things play out. Give it another chance with this group of guys.
What about you, Schaefer?
What
would make you happy?
I mean, I don't know that either of them make me happy or think about it in a different way. I think McDermott's a really good coach. And so the part of me that's like, I'm fascinated what that drop off looks like. What that, coaching at High Point is going to be different than coaching in the Big East. Being in the big chair is different than being an assistant. We've seen this many times over, and we've seen many very competent assistants struggle in the transfer, even in the same program. Not saying that's going to happen here by any means. I look at it like the worst case scenario is if you have a similar year next year and you've basically spent 2 years going nowhere, so you haven't set it off on good footing, and then that's when Huss kind of takes over after that 2-year run. I think that sets you back a little bit.
Maybe.
But there's no way of knowing that's what's going to happen.
He took a program that was in pretty bad shape and pretty quickly turned it around.
Yeah. This isn't to try to diminish any of his qualifications or anything else, but as you well know, just look around the sport.
It's not automatic.
It is hard.
It's not
no
automatic.
matter what you do. You can have a very, very bright mind in the right situation and still end up being Indiana basketball year in and year out.
There's no doubt that it is not automatic. But I mean, I guess maybe if this year's taught us anything, it's not automatic even when the big man's here,
There is no automatic.
There's nothing that's automatic. And I fully
you can have the best player in the country and not know whether you're going to get 20 minutes, 10 minutes, or no minutes.
I fully acknowledge as well that, and I think this is part of it, like Creighton has been very lucky for a long, long time. They've had back-to-back awesome coaches that have spanned 30 plus years. Like, that is
It's what you want.
That's special.
That's absolutely what you want.
That's special. Now, you start thinking about the next one, and it's a two-folded thing. There is reason to believe it could happen again because it's just happened.
Sure.
And there's also reason to believe that your quote unquote luck has run out. But I do believe it's, like it's the process of getting the right people into place, and what they have taken to do that over the years has been part of the reason why Creighton's had so much success. And I believe through a roundabout way, they've used that process here, right, to get to where they got.
Yeah, and with Huss, you're getting someone that's very familiar with what the program is, what the brand is, how things operate and work around here, the conference.
Yep.
There's not like this massive learning curve that is going to have to take place, but it's still a change, and it'll still be, fascinating when we get there. It's just kind of this unique situation where you already know what's next. It's just a question of when does that actually happen?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Creighton question.
Was it worth the wait?
I think it was a great conversation.
Well, there we go.
I'm
Very
proud
much
of you,
enjoyed it.
Shafe.
We're
You
back
are all welcome.
with the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, we got a couple minutes for the headlines. Joey has informed us that he is excited to share with us the headlines today, so let's do it.
They're pretty interesting.
Just blindly pick the first one. Should I do that?
It's a very long story if you're curious. It is an interesting story.
Let's just blindly go with the first one, Joey.
Okay, a Nashville man trying to order a hash brown bowl. I'm not reading the headline. The headline is
what is the headline?
Waffle House customer maced, tased, and zip tied over hash brown order, lawsuit says.
Classic Waffle House.
I think we wouldn't have gotten to the second one anyway.
I agree.
So let's do it.
Alrighty, pretty lengthy story. A Nashville man trying to order a hash brown bowl at an area Waffle House claims he was instead hit in the face with bear spray, taken to the ground with a stun gun, and immobilized with plastic zip ties following a confrontation with the cook that went off the rails. So the guy's name is Gregory Lynn Hall, who's 62, says he was assaulted by a riot gear-clad security guard at the restaurant after getting in the middle of an argument between the cook and a server who turned out to be the cook's wife, according to a six-figured lawsuit obtained by The Independent. In his complaint, Hall, who was hospitalized following the altercation, calls the security guard's actions unjustified, excessive, and malicious.
Malicious, yeah.
Alleging he sought to embarrass and humiliate him. The guard had no reason to confront Mr. Hall with riot gear just because he was trying to order food at the window, says the complaint, which blames the cook for sparking the encounter.
So this, from what I'm looking at, this is an event that happened several years ago, and then they're coming to a, they're now introducing
May 4th,
the lawsuit.
2024.
Yeah,
they're now introducing the lawsuit to this thing, which is
and he's seeking like $300,000.
Yeah,
from what
Hall incurred and will continue to incur medical costs as well as pain and suffering. That's what they always claim in lawsuits, right? He's asking for $150,000 in compensatory damages and $150,000 in punitive damages, plus legal fees and court costs, and it will go to trial next April. Waffle House, though, man. They seem to be there seems to be some angry people always at Waffle House.
You remember the tossed chair at one of the cooks several years ago, and the cook just caught that chair with one-handed.
Yeah. You ever been to a Waffle House, Joey?
No, I've never been to one.
You ever been to one, Schaefer?
I was trying to figure out. I've been to Waffle House many times, trying to figure out if I've been to this Nashville Waffle House.
Oh,
I've been to multiple Waffle Houses in Nashville as part of my drive around the country and writing railroad newsletter days.
Oh, really?
Nashville
I just figured it was
my...
because of debauchery.
No, well, that too,
Okay.
but I it wasn't all just the railroads, but
had an opportunity in Colorado Springs, but I decided to go to In-N-Out Burger instead.
I only went to one.
I think in that scenario, Waffle House would be better as a one-off thing than In-N-Out.
Because it was like around 10 o'clock or a little after 10 when we were in the area. And I think In-N-Out opens at 10 o'clock.
It's a generally positive experience. The food is borderline horrible. Nobody talks about that with Waffle House.
I don't think the food is horrible.
I mean,
your
like
it's a standard breakfast.
It's stuff that I could put
like
in my
diner.
I could put it in my microwave. It is not, from my experience, they were Eggo waffles and like they threw a literal Kraft cheese slice on a hash brown.
Yeah,
and
that is the Kraft cheese. They're definitely not Eggo waffles.
Like I don't know. The quality didn't
I
seem
can't
all that
speak
good.
to what you had.
I don't know what I had. I guess I'll go back to my pictures here and see what. No, I just have a really cool picture of the Waffle House. Look at that really cool picture.
Which one did you go to?
Springdale, Arkansas.
Okay.
Oh, was that for the when
Yeah.
Creighton was in the regional?
It was literally right around the corner.
Yeah,
from
I've
our
probably
hotel.
been like close to 10 times, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
I would never I don't always end up with the waffles. The hash browns are largely what I think are great about it. But yeah, I'm
it's
sure
not like it was
it's
horrible.
situationally dependent. Man.
We had a hell of a time explaining to the guy at the Waffle House what Creighton was.
Oh
boy.
Which makes a lot of sense.
It's a Jesuit school that plays baseball.
He's like, yeah, we're in town. You're like, well, you're playing the Hogs? They're like, yeah, playing the Hogs. Didn't go very well.
It did not go very well. I was like, yeah, that kind of happened.
Amazing.
And then I think he explained to us how he was like an that. Like, I don't know.
The thing that's weird about this is that there's like a window that he had to go to order at versus just like you would just go to a waffle. The whole story of it is actually pretty wild. To more or less,
Tased
if you
and
go off
zip-tied.
of what the guy is saying, he's took a photo. Now, apparently, he was standing in an area he shouldn't be standing in, which is the Waffle House and not at the order window, which I've never experienced, so I can't speak to that. But I've had Waffle House pretty late.
Well, if we end up going to a Waffle House, the closest one is 2 hours away, just south
Kansas
of
City.
I-20. No, there's one in St. Joseph's.
St. Joe.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like this picture was taken at 11:49 p.m.
Look at that.
There wasn't very many people in there, but it was like a Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was when we finished up. Anyway, there you go. That's the headlines. We're always interested in the things that are going on at all of our country's Waffle Houses. 8 o'clock hour, we'll get caught up with Nebraska football coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Theo writes in, Professor Joey, please put Holgo's response to Sipple's question on the agenda. The one where he said, I didn't learn anything from last year. Are you talking about that one? I assume that's what Theo is talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to hear
Probably. Yeah.
from a guy who sucked at his job last year.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is correct. Here is Matt. Joey, are we ready to play a video here?
Yeah, we're ready.
Here's Matt Rule on
Practice time?
No, we are not. Well, I'll have to do a rant about it probably. But here is Matt Rule on what he wants to see from the offense, not only this spring, but also coming up this fall.
I want Dana to be able to call the game fearlessly. I mean, that's why we brought Dana here. And, again, I have to learn. We have to learn from the past, but not live in the past. I think that's really important for us. But, he had to do what he had to do as we had injuries and mount up on the offensive line. And, you give up 5 sacks here, 9 sacks there. Obviously, we have a couple quarterbacks in Anthony and TJ and Danny that, we're one of the few quarterback rooms in the country that have had 3 guys who started a Power 4 opponent game last year. And so they all can move. They're all athletic, so they can move within the pocket and get outside the pocket, extend plays. But we have a big, powerful offensive line that we know can run the football, but just as importantly is the ability to protect. And my hope is that then allows Dana to call run or pass on any play and not have to worry about trying to manage the situation or manage some deficiencies.
Okay. So there's Matt Rule on what he wants to see from the offense. I want Dana to call the game fearlessly. The no fear Dana Holgorsen going into 2020. Is there anything, Schaefer, that you took away from yesterday? I mean, we can get to a variety of different things here. That was the clip I had because I'm certainly most curious about the offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating because it's like you have a new defensive coordinator and you have multiple new coaches, and allegedly it's going to look a little bit different. Though I think that's always kind of what you think, and then you see how things actually play out, and whether having a 4-man front is all that different than the 3 or 4-man front that they ran anyway.
We got to get off the whole what the formation is.
I agree,
guys. Who cares about what the formation is?
I'm with you in that the offense is by far the more interesting aspect of it to me because, again, you've invested. You've got to go get a quarterback, and they have one in Calandria. And they have these wide receivers, and you'd like to see them take the next step and not just being solid, but it'd be nice to see if with the collection of wide receivers Nebraska's had the last few years, they actually have like a prolific passing attack or, at least a dangerous one. That threatens. And so if the idea is to be able to push the ball down the field, and that sounds like something they want to do, that's all opened up. But I just don't know. Like, I don't know that I'm going to have any real confidence in this offense until I see it through the month of October, I guess.
I know.
Because nothing that they do in the first 3 weeks is going to tell me how they might play in Big Ten play. The first 2 weeks of Big Ten play is going to be Michigan State and Maryland. So I'm going to immediately discount that, right or wrong. And then you get Oregon and Indiana. So it's like, okay, you're playing 2 college football playoff teams.
Good luck.
Yeah, it may not look very good. So it's just it feels like it's going to take until the Washington game for me to finally be like, okay, Dana's doing a good job, or, oh, look, the guy who shipwrecked you with his offensive play calling in the past is where you are again.
Definitely, that is the thing for me this spring. But
Did anybody ask if they plan on running more fades in the red zone? Did they not run enough last year?
I think we missed that question. We skipped over it for some reason, but we did. We being the media asked quite a lot about the running back situation and how that all played out. And, I think we knew what the company line was going to be on.
We love what we have.
We really, really love what we have. Rule mentioned yesterday that he said, like it was just a fact. He said, yeah, I think we saw flashes of what Mekhi Nelson could be in the bowl game. And I was like, wait a minute, we did? Like, they had a good first drive? Is that what he's referencing?
Also, you went against 100 and some ranked rush defense in the country. I would hope you liked what you saw.
Right. You're talking about in practice.
Well, no, I'm talking about Utah's rush defense was horrible.
Were they really?
Yeah. I mean, like Kansas State ran for like 300 yards on them.
Ouch.
They were not a good rush defense. Like that was the thing going into the bowl game. It's like Nebraska's going to be able to run the ball here, even without Emmett Johnson. That was never in question. I enjoyed in the clip that you played that he just sort of also like fact, we're going to be able to run the ball. Okay, great. Can you run the ball on 3rd and 1? Can you run the ball on 4th and 1? Like and you're asking someone to be able to do something and then not have any time to actually prove it until next year. But this is where it's just like the expressing of confidence can be good. It can also just feel insulting when it's done in such a way that it's like, well, obviously this is true. And no, it's not.
Yeah, it's hard because I think, like you said, there's no way to know until we get to the season. And at that point, this part of it won't be a talking point anymore. Right. And so I get a little annoyed sometimes with the don't worry, we're going to be fine thing.
Yeah.
Like trust us thing. And
we've got the best man for the job. Ed Foley's going to fix it.
I think there is absolute reason, like, especially like in your first year, you could say, hey man, like just take it easy. We're going to be okay. Let it settle in. Trust us on this. And at that point you got to be like, yeah, we're going down this road. So let's go down it. But in 3 years, they've done a lot of different things, both offensively and defensively. And
a little success.
I think it's fair to wonder why they picked the road that they're going down and if that road will be the correct road, right? Like, I think that's fair. And so my big picture takeaway was this. I sensed a little bit of annoyance yesterday from the coaches that spoke, with the exception of Orich because he's new. I sensed a little bit of media annoyance yesterday from Holgorsen and Matt Rule. And I think this has been coming for a little while now. Not that it is combative, I don't think in any way, shape, or form, but I just think we're in this really hard spot right now where, like I said, coaches want to say, look, man, you're just going to have to trust me on this. And the media, which is just a reflection of the fan base, says, I don't know if I can. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can.
It's become more of a, well, why should we?
Right. Yeah.
Like there's no reason to give you the benefit of the doubt that this is going to finally be fixed in the 4th year of attempting to do it. There's no reason that anyone should just take your word that you can run the football when there's enough evidence to the contrary that when the field gets small and you didn't go out and get a power running back and you're going to turn it over to a guy in Quentin Ives potentially as your short yardage back, there's no reason to just accept that this is fact. And if there's some annoyance on their part, fine. Like, go prove people wrong. Go do the grave dancing and look at how smart we are after you've actually accomplished it. And I'm not saying that they're doing that in the forefront right now, but there's no part of me that would be concerned if there's a little bit of a tension between how questions are asked and how Matt Rule answers.
I agree.
That's perfectly fine. That's probably better overall right now.
Well, I get worried about how they, because I have said over and over again over the last couple of years, I oftentimes feel like they're worried about the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
And so I get a little bit worried that comes up in this situation. I agree with you. I don't think a little tension is a bad thing. Most notably because we're going into year 4 and we don't know where it's going. That tension is deserved and it exists for a reason at this point. But I hope they handle it well. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not convinced.
I would certainly say that.
Because it feels like a lot of times, a lot of what they say is just a direct slashing of the narrative that is going on about and what people are saying about their program. And I wish it wouldn't be, but I don't know. Here we are.
I certainly would hope that you would get a better answer about what you've learned last year when you say nothing It kind of just implies that you're smart enough to either figure it out or that you don't feel like you need to explain why you only scored 22 points a game against teams that weren't Akron and Houston Christian.
There was a little, I think there was probably a little Dylan, a little Dylan in there, it was like,
Okay.
I get the sense that they're pretty happy to be done with that.
Yeah, for a lot of
situation.
different reasons, I'm sure that's true. You didn't have Dylan for 4 games, and you look kind of like trash in almost all of them, except against the worst team you played. So it can't just be about Dylan. You couldn't get a first down against Penn State.
I agree completely.
When it mattered. You couldn't do anything offensively with someone that wasn't Dylan. Okay, then you had a freshman quarterback. That was the problem. Well, you knew what that was when you went into the season.
One of the things that people were so excited about with Latif was that he was going to run and he was going to give Nebraska this extra dynamic. Would you like to know how many yards TJ Latif ran for in total last year?
68.
40.
Overshot it by 28 yards.
40. And only, I guess, all but 5 of them. So 35 of them were in the games where he started in place of Dylan last year. And so, to your point, Schaefer, like, I don't know, like, this has not gone the way we thought it was going to go at any turn. So, like, the point of optimism through the season last year for a lot of people was, I want to see Latif start, and I think he could open up the offense and all the Tifis. You remember all that stuff. And then it actually happened, and it's not just the fact that they lost the games, which they lost all but one of them, and they almost lost that one too, which they could have been up 56-0, but they weren't. Like, it hasn't gone how we thought it was going to go. Latif ran for 40 yards. I'm sorry, 120 yards last year. I apologize. 40 carries for 120 yards. That's sack adjusted. I apologize. I screwed that up. But it's still not enough. I thought he was going to be a big part of what they did in the run game. That was the advantage of it, and they never got there. I don't know why they never got there. I don't know why they didn't let him turn it loose a little bit. Like, there's just been that's been a constant throughout the last couple of years.
Or why their offense sort of just would go into a shell for large parts of the game, how they struggled to find ways to score, when they were on the opponent's side of the field, why they ran as many, fades as they ran in the end zone. None of that was learned.
You hate fades in the end zone.
I just
Are you one of the I hate shotgun from the guys?
No. I'm not any of that. Like, I'm fine. Like, do whatever you're gonna do. Just be good at it and have it work. I agree
completely.
If you're not, hey, let's take our tight end and line them up and we're gonna run a tush push. Don't be that in a critical situation. If whatever it is that you do, don't change who you are because the field gets small. Take whatever you're good at and then go do it. And the problem last year is they didn't know what they were good at. So maybe he learned nothing because there was nothing to learn from last year. There's a better way to answer that. There's a non-flippant response to it. My annoyance about this is that we spent so much time in late October and then through November talking about the defense. And then it was, well, they're no longer going to have Dylan. And so and then it becomes like John Butler and Dylan Raiola work as very convenient scapegoats.
They do.
For a lot that went wrong last year that allow people that are still there to pretend like, well, stuff would have worked, but these guys weren't getting it done.
They tanked us.
You were 6-2 with Dylan Raiola and leading against USC, and you won one game and scored like 45 points in the whatever after that.
Yeah.
That's you. You own that. And so, I need a lot from Dana Holgorsen. I didn't want him back. I didn't think he deserved to come back. I don't know that he's in 2026 strength for you as an offensive coordinator. Nothing I saw last year would suggest that his offenses are creative, that he has a good understanding of how he wants to attack things in the Big Ten, that, Emmett Johnson had a great year. That's the full effect of what he was able to do.
Yeah.
And now, you know who's not here?
Emmett Johnson.
And you know who is? A couple running backs that you didn't give the ball to because you were giving it to Emmett Johnson because you didn't want to put him on the field.
But he had a really good drive in the bowl game. Let's
Wow.
take a phone call on the
Where they scored how many points?
Prairie
Was it
Flower
22?
Casino Zone hotline. Here is James. Good morning, James. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great show on a nice snowy day, huh?
That's right. Thank you.
Hey, just real quick, I think it's very good for them to feel very uncomfortable, even in the press conferences. I worked for a top 10 national business as an executive. If things didn't go right in my department, I started to feel some of the heat, and the heat kind of made me change my perspective, some of my processes, maybe the way I approach things in order to get it back on track. So, you know what? I think that's what they're sensing. I think it's a healthy thing because this just reiterates to them, number one, the honeymoon's over, and it's time for some results. The running back thing scares me. We've been talking about it for 2 years. Defensive line, same thing. And the other question I have was, why haven't there been an interview with this general manager? I mean, I'd like to ask him the question, what made you think we didn't need a running back in the portal?
Well,
Isn't he part of that decision making?
funny enough,
so I just want to know
James-
you guys' pointers on that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Funny enough, he was just on the network a couple nights ago, and he was asked basically that exact question.
Yeah.
And he had the stock answer just like everybody
he's
else.
not making the personnel decision.
Yeah.
Like he's just not. Like he's overseeing things. He's overseeing how money works and all of that. Like he's sort of your cap guy, if you would. Like NFL teams have the general manager whose job it is to sort of lead the procurement of players, and then they have the guy whose job it is to figure out the cap and how to make everything work financially. I think Pat Stewart is far more of the money management aspect of it than he is, I'm going to go evaluate, and this is what our roster really needs. He's getting you the numbers of, we've got X amount of money that we can put to our defensive line, and if we want to go over that, we're going to have to pull from one of these three places.
Right.
But that's what he's doing.
That's my
And
sense
a
on it,
hugely
too.
valuable thing. It's just not what you think of when, you think of a team's general manager leading the war room or whatever it is. Even those people still have their evaluation teams and everything else that, are getting them that information. Matt Rule is the one that makes these decisions.
That would be my sense as
all
well.
goes there.
To James's first thing. Yeah, I think that there's some pressure. They're feeling it a little bit. There's no doubt. And they should, no doubt. But going back to what I said earlier, I mean, James, great job. Like, right, that pressure motivates you to get better and reevaluate your situation and all these different things. You can only hope that's happened here. I hope that is what has happened.
To Matt Rule's credit, they have made changes again.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you've changed. Right. That doesn't mean you're looking at things the right way.
It doesn't mean the central issues aren't still there.
Right.
It just means that the furniture was rearranged in the room.
Correct.
So we won't know. And again, we won't.
And they're going to
really
say all
know.
the right stuff because, you know, what I liked a lot of what I heard yesterday. You know, we're going to allow Dana to call the game freely. We're going to let Rob Orich come in and he's going to do his thing. You know, like that's what I learned. That was basically Rule's answer to what he had learned off of last year. And he's right. You know, that's true.
Isn't that all largely the same of what he said the year before?
Right.
Like John Butler was going to be allowed to call the defense as he saw fit, and they were going to be more aggressive and this and that and that. And then Dana Holgerson has carte blanche to change the staff and do whatever he wants. And he's the offensive head coach and et cetera.
Absolutely.
Et cetera. There's not like a whole big difference in what he's saying. It's what happens next is ultimately always what matters.
All right, let's take a break. We'll take your thoughts on that. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number, of course, tweet it at the show, and leave a YouTube comment as well. Also, several online contests going on right now at 1620thezone.com. Tickets to Journey, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, Yachtly Crew, and Chris Stapleton. You could win your way into any of those shows online on 1620thezone.com. Still to be joined by our dear friend Jake Sorensen from the Ticket in Lincoln in just a little while. We'll talk about basketball this weekend. How Jake handles the snow. He's been I once stayed overnight in the studio to do a morning show with Jake in preparation for a snowstorm, and boy, did it snow.
Is this the one in no?
I don't know what year.
Do you remember 2019 when the station ended up getting like basically all of Lincoln was snowed in? And
it may have been that.
Jake managed to get there to like get things started or whatever, run that day, but every other show got canceled. Like we didn't do a recruiting hour.
Oh, well, okay. Then it was before that.
One time in my radio experience has a day effectively just been canceled because no one could physically get to the station.
I think I do.
People couldn't get out of their neighborhoods. I walked from my house.
Yeah, you lived right up the hill. Yeah.
Because even 2 days later, I still couldn't get out of my neighborhood.
I do remember that now. No, but that was when Jake and I were doing a morning show together. And we just were like, let's just stay here. We were children, you know.
How did that go?
It was horrible. It was a horrible night of sleep. And
the floor is disgusting.
And I'm pretty sure the power went out at like 7, like halfway through the show. The power,
of course,
and we just couldn't do a show anymore.
Did you bring like sleeping bags?
It was worthless. Yeah, I think so. We'll ask Jake about it because he has a better memory than I do. Let's take a phone call on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here's Random Mike. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, so they're changing the practices from morning to afternoon. Is that right?
That is correct. They're going to go like through 2:30 to like 6 or something.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
I'll tell you how I feel. Wasn't Frost the one that said we're going to practice early in the morning because scientifically this is going to work? And
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. How'd that work out for us?
Poorly.
Yeah. And you know what? I saw some guys responding to the change in practice time. I think some of them said, hey, I'll get more sleep, and that's a good thing. And you know what? I think that's exactly right. They're going to get more sleep, and that's a good thing.
Maybe they did a sleep study.
Sense. When you practice early, guess what? You get less sleep. Are they going to make up for it somewhere else? Probably not. And it shows. One thing about Hoiberg, if I can mention him, he's been big on the sports science and really using them. And don't you think the sports science would say, yeah, we're going to get more sleep, and that's going to be a good thing? Does that make sense?
I think you can find a study and a person who will tell you whatever you'd like to on what the optimal amount of sleep is and when you should wake your body up and all these different things. I truly believe that, like, there's people out there that will tell you that you should drink 14 glasses of wine a day or something like that.
Wine?
It would be great for your heart, Mike. Just drink 14 glasses of wine.
Just don't try.
Great for your heart. Eat more walnuts. Hey, how's your walnuts guy doing? The guy that was on the edge of death.
Tom's doing great. He started eating walnuts.
Hey, did you watch the women's game last night?
No, but I was following along with the score, and it became apparent that they were going to win. And then, to my surprise, this morning,
you didn't know last night that it had slipped away.
I don't think so.
You didn't know that they got absolutely demolished in the fourth quarter.
What in the world is going on, Mike? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you that, but I'll tell you what happened. It was a really good game until the fourth quarter. What happened was they missed every shot, and a lot of them were wide open. And this is not good. But they did play better, and it would have been probably their best win of the year. But hey, can I quickly give you a memory quiz, Connor?
Yes.
I made 3 predictions about basketball, Nebraska basketball teams, men and women, really early in the year. And they were all kind of extreme, and you were impressed with them. You said, oh, really? Do you remember any of them?
Absolutely not. Nope. Zero.
I didn't think so. And I don't blame you. One was totally wrong, where I said the women, because they had such a nice start and looked good, and you agreed. And especially with this Mappin, what's her name again?
Maupin.
I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Maupin, right? And she looks so promising and so different than what we've had. I said, they're going to finish near the top of the Big 12. Whoa. And you thought, hey, maybe that could happen. Well, that's not going to happen. But my other prediction were about 2 players that were very positive I said Britt Prince will be an All-American. And I think she will be, but I don't think it's going to be this year. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's not gonna be this year. With their, they're gonna only
There are
have.
times when she looks like an All-American.
I think so. She's just limited to, because of her size compared to her counterparts at that position. But man, she could still get a bucket. It doesn't stop her from doing that.
Yeah, and that what do they call that? 40, 50, 90?
40, 50, 90 club, yeah.
And and that's a small club. And she hadn't missed a free throw in the Big Ten until like the other day. I mean, it's quite amazing. But I tend to agree with you there. But the other prediction was Prager's going to be one of the all-time greats at Nebraska, and I still think that's a good chance of happening. You think?
All-time greats.
I think we're kind of a long way from that conversation.
Yeah. I'm not there yet, Mike.
We are.
I'm not there.
I think he could be.
I like you going out on a limb, though.
I think he could be one of the more talented players we've seen in recent memory at Nebraska, should everything come together. But all-time greats is for anybody kind of a stretch until you're in that actual conversation.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely got more talent. But the fact is, we beat Iowa if he has a better game. Remember, he got beat pretty badly by their stud a number of times. He had a couple travels at the end of the game. He couldn't make. You know what I'm saying. But both our teams are so reliant on the 3-point shot.
Yeah, yes, the women most certainly are. Yeah, the men I think could probably work their way around.
But
it a little bit
even
more.
then,
But
only
yes.
having 15 points off of 3-pointers in a game in which you only allowed 57 and still lost,
No doubt.
it definitely hurt him.
Can we get Garcia to help, please?
Don't count on it.
It's not up to us.
don't
I don't even know
count.
that it's up to him, to be honest. I think he's just kind of benched until otherwise.
Mike, you at this point you got what you got, and you're gonna have to make it. You're gonna have to make it work. That's the tough part.
Okay, but here's the thing. My original point: more sleep is a good thing, and that's a fact. So change of practice time is good.
Okay, all right. Thanks for calling, Mike. Appreciate it. That is our dear friend Random Mike. So I can attest to the more sleep is a good thing.
Definitely.
I used to get more sleep than I do right now. I feel like I'm a lot grumpier of a person now, but
I'm that way too.
Grumpy man. You're
I'm
grumpy Joey.
Grumpy old man Joe.
How much sleep did you used to get?
I would pretty routinely go to bed at midnight and wake up at 7.
Okay.
7 to 8.
And
hours before.
I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to do 10 to 5.
And even with having a small child, that wasn't disrupted too much.
Oh, it's interrupted sleep,
but not
but
like you're consistently we're getting about 7 hours.
Yeah, about. And it's just a little bit more difficult to achieve that these days. I don't like going to bed early. I somehow have to retrain my body to be not a late night person, which I feel like that's just a DNA thing. I don't know.
I'm very similar in that, like, routinely was probably getting 6 hours of sleep, which perfectly fine number for me. Now it's maybe dipping way closer than I want to like 5.5. Like to get 6 hours of sleep for when I wake up has me going to bed at times where I do not want to go to bed. Yeah. And I want to stay up and watch.
Me too.
Washington take on Iowa in basketball.
Schaefer's a basketball sicko
and not
now.
Pay for it.
And
now.
Most of the basketball sicko stuff happens after like 9:30.
And Nebraska's going to play UCLA at 10. And then we will have a show the next day.
Oh, I don't think I can watch it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I'll fill you in on it. I'll be up for it.
You're going to watch it?
You'll probably want to be up just to see what Mick Cronin says afterwards.
Oh, there's no way I'll be up for that.
That's why I got social media. If I find something there, I'll get it ready for the show.
Creighton plays at 8 next week, and
on Wednesday at home against DePaul.
Best case scenario, I get home at probably like 11:30.
Yeah,
so that's gonna be the latest I push it.
And that's the best case scenario with your traffic situation.
There is another scenario in which it's later,
in which you're sleeping in the station,
and just hope for the Big East tournament Creighton doesn't become a 2 or 3 seeder, play those late night tips.
I thought for sure that Mike was going to call in and talk about Cam Koziel. Did you see what Cam Koziel's up to?
No.
He caught an armadillo. That's right. Arkansas baseball player, Omaha native, Cam Koziel, known for his fishing and hunting, and wildlife, excursions, I guess I would call them. They have the pond out there behind the scoreboard. He fishes it. I think he stocks it. It is the whole thing. So there was a video that came out from Arkansas baseball. He caught an armadillo, and Dave Van Horn was on a press conference Zoom yesterday, and he was like, "No, I was really worried about Cam because those." And then Dave Van Horn went on this 90-second rant about how dangerous armadillos are.
I didn't know what led up to it, but I just saw the clip about the armadillos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Cam,
seeing it.
Yeah, Van Horn impressed upon Cam that armadillos could give you leprosy, and his response was like the Bible ? Like in the Bible. And he was like, "Yes, that's exactly right." Bible.
Do you think Cam has ever wrestled a cow?
No, I don't.
Do you see this going around yesterday?
No.
I wish I could give attribution to the quote, but I can't get into the story. So perhaps you can, and we can get this after the fact. In NSAA girls wrestling yesterday, there was a quote that came out from somebody. I feel like smaller towns look down on Lincoln schools because we're city kids and we don't wrestle cows, I guess. Which is just an all-time quote.
Damn,
roasted. From what I assume is a state champion. So I will endeavor to get actually said that.
Get Michael Snow to pitch in on that.
It really does make you wonder how the rest of the state looks at Omaha. If they look at Lincoln as the big city, what do they do with us?
Ignore you and make you your own state.
That's
We're
great.
the New York City.
I'm happy to be
Nebraska.
my own state. I'm happy to be my own state. It means I don't have to think about anything else that happens outside of Omaha, which is great.
Most of the time they don't.
Lincoln is the town that's wrestling cows to me.
They might be wrestling cows.
You go over there and you're like, this is a third world country.
It's a Western Nebraska vibe.
The roads.
You just spending most of the week talking about your traffic situation by the arena.
That's true. That is bad, but because progress is pain, Schaefer. And sometimes in order to do a very necessary streetcar, you have to have some pain.
I watched multiple progress being built in downtown Lincoln as they just demolished buildings and giant holes, and they couldn't use all their lanes of traffic because developers needed empty storefronts and everything else. Progress was in Lincoln, I was told.
How'd it work out?
Progress. I'm here. That's how it worked out.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll be back around at the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, Happer and Schaefer rolls on a Friday. Hopefully everybody's commute is safe. Looks like the roads are, we're getting there, and we're getting some sunshine. Now keep in mind we only get to see about a 4-block run here on Dodge Street, but schools are closed today here on our late February snow day, and the roads have seemed to enjoy that.
So I saw on social media, I think a couple or one of the superintendents in the Omaha metro area apologized for
Canceling classes yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Which
he
should not have canceled classes yesterday. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I was like,
nothing got
pile
bad
on.
We
until
were
after
mocking
school.
the decision
Yeah.
when we were in studio yesterday.
Yeah.
Because it felt like there was, and I know the concern was that it could hit when students are being picked up. But we also know that the weather never actually arrives when it's stated to. At one point, it was supposed to be coming down at like noon, and it didn't get here until closer to 4.
Yeah, like how I will always approach it with these impending snow, because it's one thing to get snow, and it's another thing to have like an impending snow event. Yesterday, we had an impending snow event, right? You knew it was coming. I will always approach it from the perspective of Oma Dome will hold until it doesn't. Okay.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened yesterday. So I'm sitting there on my couch at 3:15 in the afternoon. I'm like, "Where's this friggin' snow? Are you coming? No match for the Oma Dome, are you?" And then the dome fell in like the Metrodome roof.
I saw a tweet in this regard from Whopper.
Oh, really?
And it was basically Oma Dome, and then it was a picture of the score of Georgetown Creighton in the Big East.
Accurate.
I laughed really, really hard.
Accurate.
That got me pretty good yesterday.
Not bad. Also yesterday, so hope you're safe out there and shoveling. Take it easy on yourselves, shoveling your driveways as well. Yesterday, a large contingent of the college basketball media met in Indianapolis to put together a mock selection event. So you probably saw tweets about this yesterday. Yeah. Schaefer is new into his college basketball sicko hood, but he's been following college basketball reporters for a long time. So the media came out with the bracket itself. And first of all, it was interesting to hear like them kind of go through the process. For the record, they had Nebraska as a 3 seed in the what region is that? The top right, whatever top right. I don't think they name them yet.
But I think they were in the
I think it was
the
South.
DC region, the East region. Okay. That's what I thought.
East region.
That's what I thought I saw.
They placed them in Buffalo against East Tennessee State, and then the winner of that gets North Carolina or a play-in game winner, which you were kind of worried about the other day.
That's not a good matchup for Nebraska.
You don't even know who it is, Joey.
Well, I'm assuming North Carolina. Okay,
the team that just lost by like 30 to NC
I don't think
State.
they're that good.
Yeah,
I don't think they're that good. And then
I would sign up for North Carolina as a 6 seed if Nebraska's a 3. I'm okay with that.
So then they did the seed list. And they put that out as far as what they had yesterday. I'm trying to find which reporter.
Yeah, because I saw all of this too.
They just came from a variety of different places.
Try Matt Norlander.
I'm on Norlander right now, so try somebody else.
Try somebody else.
I had how about Evan Miyakawa was there. Let's see if he did the seed list. Either way, I think they had Nebraska at like 13. I want to say in the overall seed list.
No, they would have to be 12th because 13 would put them as a.
That's
4th.
right. They were the last. They were the last 3.
12.
They were the last 3. It was 12.
Which honestly is better than I think they deserve at the moment. Like I think they're probably trending more to being a 4 than they are a 3. Though I will say, and this was something I was going to mention too. If you follow, it's funny. You follow the coverage of it, and despite how maybe I have been reacting or other people have been reacting around here locally, from a national perspective, there's still like very much an expectation Nebraska gets into the tournament and wins multiple rounds. Like whether it was the CBS has been doing these videos where they put up teams.
I'm telling you, man,
anybody else, like the outside of here expectation after whatever's happened these last few weeks, there's still a genuine belief that this team is going to win games.
It's funny how perception works, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
because prior it was,
if you're in, once you get in the cool kids club, it's pretty hard to get kicked out.
which is funny because it felt like they weren't letting them into the cool kids club on their way to 20-0.
I think when it changed after they lost to Michigan.
I think that's when everyone was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
they've got guys that can make plays
The-
even in the worst of circumstances."
the Nick Stauskas game. They all saw the Nick Stauskas broadcast and said, "This is my team."
They're like, they survived a Nick Stauskas game.
I don't think
Wow.
Nick Stauskas is done. Is he on the air?
I could take a look.
Check it out, Joey.
I'll
What's
take
he
a look at
been
506.
cooking?
I saw someone intimating that like his meltdown caused him to lose future opportunities, which
He
would be
was-
unfortunate.
He was going back and forth with
but he
people on
did go
Twitter.
kind of hard in the paint, and it was on stuff that wasn't even like,
No.
you know, I've said much worse things about Nick Stauskas.
Like, you're getting an opportunity. Probably best that you just keep it low profile
Yeah.
and don't ruffle any feathers. But seems like he may have ruffled some feathers. Anyway, that was the media selection yesterday, and the mock selection.
How did you feel about the 12 and sort of like what they have in there? I mean, I guess,
I'd have to find it.
yeah,
I'm not seeing him throughout the week.
No Stauskas. We are Stauskas-less.
shut down from Stauskas.
Seth Davis was definitely there, right? He was definitely cooking
I
something.
do see a lot of Nick Baugh on the schedule.
There we go. A lot of Nick Baugh is good. So here's how they had it in no particular order. The ones were Arizona, Houston, Michigan, and Duke. The twos were Purdue, Illinois, UConn, and Iowa State. The threes were Gonzaga, Florida, Kansas, and Nebraska, which honestly feels like the right neighborhood to put them in.
Yeah.
It's either inconsistent, well thought of teams or that's kind of the story. I mean, although Gonzaga is not particularly inconsistent, they just had one pretty massive slip up a couple weeks ago. Florida's been generally inconsistent. Kansas is very inconsistent. And then you have Nebraska, who is remarkably the most consistent out of all of them. They just don't know how top end good they are.
The Gonzaga question's really hard though, because it's hard to be inconsistent when you don't really play.
You don't get the opportunity to.
And it's just like it's hard
yeah.
for them to build upon their resume because you don't. Your best wins are going to be Santa Clara or St. Mary's.
So tomorrow they will release, and I don't know. I'll look up what time this is. They
I
will.
thought I saw it was 11 a.m., but I could be off on that. CBS Sports is involved with it, I believe.
So they will release this bracket or the top 16 seed release tomorrow at 11:30 on CBS. And I believe this is they don't do like a college football playoff selection show, or a college football playoff rankings week, because they have less shame, I guess, than college football, or more shame, I suppose, than college football, which is really great of college basketball. So this will be their one check-in. And like I said, usually when you're in the cool kids club, usually your top 16, you're going to probably end up being there in a couple weeks when they do the actual selection show. They're obviously the teams at the bottom of it are going to have a more difficult time staying in. But if you're one of those top, I'd say 6, 7, 8 teams, you're probably not going anywhere. It's almost solidified on the top 2 couple lines. Nebraska won't be on that, but I imagine there'll be a top 16 here. And
I would look for them anywhere from 11th to like 14th. That's sort of the range.
And I think, you're in good shape if you hold serve to be in there in a couple weeks, which is, I think, if we're looking for seeding stuff, if we're looking for tournament and setup, like more so than anything else, be a top 4 seed. Be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like, you've had the opportunity to be higher. Don't let it slip any further past 4.
I think they'd probably have to go 2 and 3 in their final 5.
Yeah, unlikely.
And I don't think they're going to do that.
Unlikely.
But it is interesting. Purdue feels like they're the one team that maybe they could flip spots with. So Purdue could end up going further away. Like they're right now, I think, slated for St. Louis. And so and Purdue's kind of got a tougher finish here where they still have Wisconsin. They still have Michigan State. They just played Michigan. They've already played Illinois and they've already played Nebraska. But if Purdue were to drop a couple games, they have a big one tonight against Indiana. That could help Nebraska as well. But the biggest thing is Nebraska just has to win. just take care of their business. You have these 2 games against Penn State, Maryland. Go get those. At worst, you got to get one out in LA. Those games seem less daunting as you get closer to them.
I don't think those teams are all that good.
The toughest is still that game against Iowa, just because didn't love that Nebraska just couldn't meet them where they needed to on Tuesday night.
Didn't handle it very well. All right, we'll be back. 9:00 hour coming up. We'll have one quick segment, then we'll talk to Jake on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 9:00 hour of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. So this will be fun. We're going to see how long this lasts, because one of our running bits when we get to the crossover is Josh Hodson and I always comment on how much Matt and Schaefer, neither of them can they
There-
just
there we
both
go.
really
There
love
we go.
talking a lot. And so it's one of those things where they can't release themselves from a conversation because there's always a next thing to say. And I think that just happened. You were sabotaged. This show is sabotaged by Matt McMaster because of his talking.
It's my fault. I didn't check how long the break was. I just assumed it was.
I did come out of the studio and give a 1 minute warning.
He did.
well,
It wasn't loud enough.
He
though.
did.
It will never be loud enough. That's the problem.
So
I need
at what point did you
I need
notice?
like a dog collar. Matt's like, you're live. I was like, what do you mean?
At what point
And he
did you
holds up his
notice?
phone. I was like, oh. crap.
Hey, Happer's gone. Like maybe it's time.
I saw you turn back, and I was like, oh, maybe he's filling up his water bottle or something.
It's in the same direction as the studio.
It's true. That is true. We got there. Way to go.
What did I
We
miss?
handled
Like,
it.
did I miss a whole minute?
No, you did. No,
You
I
missed
don't-
like 22
yeah,
seconds.
It wasn't much. I just wanted to see how far it would go as a bit. I honestly wish
Who
you would've
knows
stayed
how
out
long
there
it would have
longer.
went if Matt wouldn't have been like, hey, you're live right now. And I was like, oh.
Very
Okay.
responsible of Matt McMaster. Well done.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's on it.
well, speaking of Matt, he might want to listen up closely. Not that he already doesn't know about this, but figured I'd put it in his head again. Indiana, the state, unanimously passes bill to lure Bears away from Chicago. The Bears push for a new stadium took a meaningful step on Thursday, opening the door for the storied franchise to leave Illinois and potentially build a new dome stadium in Northwest Indiana.
The Bears still suck.
Awesome.
He was just staring at us through the one of our windows.
I guess that is
I said something nice about him.
is that the official position of this show, that we hate the Bears? Because I have no opinion on them, but you guys seem to really not like them.
The Bears still suck.
Or Schaefer more is just like, I don't care. Joey just really likes.
Joey, I think, has more of the hatred.
Yeah.
Mine's more of the mild annoyance of, when they're good, there's just a lot of Bears enthusiasm.
There is.
And so that's more of where it comes from me.
It's the same thing that happens when any of actually, it's just the Bears and the Packers.
It's more
It's
Bears
just-
than Packers. Like the
It
Packers are
is.
like genuinely good most of the time. I mean, they've had Favre, they've had Rodgers, and even Aaron Love, who I don't think is anywhere near
Aaron
that
Love.
level. Aaron Love. Wow, I combined them.
How
Jordan
dare
Love.
you, Schaefer? That's Jordan,
Actually,
Mr.
I don't mind
Interception.
this. End of career Aaron Love, current career Jordan.
Are we sure about Mr. Interception Love?
Well, I mean, Mr. Throw the ball up into the sky and see what happens.
Well, he
That's
wasn't
what-
Mr. Touchdown.
More
for like
accurate
3
than
weeks.
Caleb Williams. But go on.
Anyway,
Boy, man, I like the Bears. There's also a fair amount of media members in Nebraska that are Bears fans,
there are.
and so that becomes part of it. And it's like they win a couple games. Is this a year? And then it turned out they had a nice season.
Could you
I just didn't believe that they were good all year.
we have to think about this for a second. The reality that we possibly, I'm not trying to do anything here. The reality that we are possibly headed toward is the Chicago Bears, a historic NFL franchise in a major US city, like one of the three that you think of, who is located for years, decades throughout their existence on the lakefront at one place. You know it, you love it. It is one thing. It's all of Chicago. It's united around the Chicago Bears in downtown Chicago. That team moving not only out of that place and not just to the burbs, but across state lines is an absolutely absurd thing to do. It would be a completely idiotic. I mean, I don't even know what the words would be to describe it. It would be one of the biggest disasters that any of us have ever seen. I mean, I can't imagine. I cannot fathom this. I cannot fathom how angry I would be if I were a Chicago Bears fan.
I love Kevin Warren. Thank you, Kevin Warren.
He's finally accomplished something that I can throw my full support behind. I can really get behind this. I wish it was more Gary and less Hammond because I want to just call him the Gare Bears.
Sort of call them the Gare Bears.
But I don't know if I can do that if it's Hammond, which is
the Ham Bears.
Hammond is very close to Gary.
Well, it's
very close to Chicago,
Yeah.
but famously neither of them are Chicago.
It's kind of in that between point between Chicago and Gary.
So I don't know what's gonna ultimately end up happening here. A lot of this, you guys, I mean, you know this because you've seen things like this happen over time here. A lot of this is just posturing. A lot of this is just a move by the team to get what they want.
Are the Quad City Bears no longer an option?
I don't
think so.
I don't think so.
Not the Mississippi River Bears.
What if you're making these
Sponsored by the
people-
world's largest truck stop.
You're making these people who have to go through absolute hell and back just to get to their already existing disastrous stadium now drive an hour further across state lines.
I don't even know if it's nearby a subway station.
They would have to make some sort of transit.
It might not even be nearby a subway,
Yeah,
Joey.
yeah.
I mean, let alone the station. Who the hell knows what's in Hammond, Indiana?
That's a great question.
But it might be the Chicago Bears.
Future city of the day,
Oh my God,
Hammond, Indiana.
It will be if this happens.
We got to.
We're. Are you looking for?
I think I saw on social media that they had like a top 5 things to do in Hammond, Indiana, and the number 2 spot is the Indiana Welcome Center.
I was really hoping number 2 was go to Chicago. Get in your car.
You guys are being so mean right now. This is
How
so
are we being mean?
You're just laughing hysterically, uncontrollably.
We're celebrating the city of Hammond and all it has accomplished to be able to bring in maybe the most historic of franchises in the Chicago
It's
Bears.
been over 100 years in Chicago.
Joey is laughing uncontrollably. He can't handle.
I don't know if it was
himself.
the subway line that got him or just the entirety of this.
I think that probably started
the
it.
Indiana Welcome Center.
It's like there's a Home Depot close by, something like that. Could you imagine? This is a ridiculous.
What I can't
idea.
imagine is how bad that traffic would be to get there. Like
seriously,
I mean, Chicago
It's
traffic
absurd.
is already
there can't be
horrendous.
more than
great.
one road to Hammond.
And then, like if anyone that's covered Nebraska, anything that's had to drive through the southern part of the Chicagoland area,
Disaster.
if you hit it from like 3:00 to 6, you're basically just stuck in traffic, even down there as people are getting in and out of the suburb. So, man, that would be a logistical nightmare. I love it. Kevin Warren, you are doing some outstanding work.
I love
here's
Kevin
the thing.
Warren.
Whatever happens here, whether they become the Gare Bears or the Ham Bears or
The Ham Bears.
the whatever,
Care Bears.
or they end up moving to the burbs, whatever it might be. The fact that we've had people like us all around the country laugh hysterically at this for
So
several months
It's awesome.
is already damaging in and of itself. This is an embarrassment.
This would never happen to Joey's team.
no, it
There had
would
been
not.
a threat.
There's been threats of
Yeah.
getting out of Green Bay.
There's
just
been
because
threats
of
with the Vikings
least-
that Red McCombs was going to move them to San Antonio, and it never went anywhere. And now they have a bird-killing stadium and won't be going anywhere.
That's true.
Like for this to happen to what is a historic franchise
It's embarrassing.
is amazing. It's utterly amazing.
I enjoy it.
Clearly.
I'm all for this. Just please be in Gary,
the
Indiana.
Chicago Bears of Indiana.
John writes in on the text line, there is a train station within a half mile of the proposed stadium site. It is currently tiny, though.
What about the subway?
I just,
Expansion.
you might as well just make it like, so what have been the bullet points here, the checkpoints? I mean, first it was the Gare Bears, and then there's like, oh, we're going to build it in the suburbs. And then the Iowa thing comes along, which was probably never real,
Rock
but
Island.
it doesn't make it any less embarrassing that Iowa could be like, hey, look, why don't you move the Bears to the Quad
Yeah, what was
Cities?
it? Dubuque?
The Davenport Bears.
It was either the Quad Cities or Dubuque.
The
That's where
Mississippi
we
River
wanted it.
Bears.
We wanted the Mississippi River Bears.
And then we go to Hammond. And like all of this is rooted in
we go to Hammond.
nobody knows what that is. And all of this is rooted in they're only like they're listening, or these things are being heard because their polls are we will pay for everything. We will pay for everything for you, which is classic Kevin Warren.
Well, the city of Chicago is like, yeah, I mean, you're an NFL team. You can kind of figure this out. You make billions of dollars.
Right.
The Bears are not, if not for the Browns, not the Browns, excuse me. The Browns are not that. The Bengals are the poorest organization in the NFL. The Bears might be like second or third because it's family controlled and they don't have a lot of other income besides the Bears. And so
their bit is they own the Bears.
I mean, you talk to former NFL players, and they'll talk about how like the Bears and the Bengals relative to other NFL, like how they cheap out and the ways that they cheap out is kind of incredible.
They might need a rebrand.
They're getting one.
They might need a
Did they become the Bears?
You can't be the non-Chicago Bears. You'd have to call them like some sort of very 2026 nickname.
And again, we do this with the Giants and the Jets, and you sort of just make peace with that however you choose to. But there's something about the idea of Chicago, which has had this stadium for 102 years, where it's been at, and then they just won't even be in Chicago anymore. In Illinois.
Gus Mohawk writes in, is this worse than the Raiders move to Vegas? As a Raiders fan, we have never had a home field advantage, and it's always 70-30 away fans. At least the Bears would have that going for them. No, I would argue, Gus Mohawk, that it is worse.
Yeah.
Because the Raiders moved to
like
Vegas.
They were in LA during the 80s and 90s.
The Raiders moved to Las Vegas, which is a city.
Yeah. And they have a beautiful stadium.
Right. And he's right about that. It is embarrassing from the perspective of they get overtaken by road fans all the time.
Don't they have somewhat of a, like, there's been some studies that teams that have traveled to Vegas don't do as well. They may not have an in-stadium advantage, but the atmosphere of being in Vegas before your game, I think, has helped in that regard. Like
distraction city.
This might have been different this past year where they were horrendous, but there was some study early on that teams were averaging less points when they travel to Vegas than when they play in other away cities, and it had very little to do with statistically what the Raiders were doing.
It's
like they committed
Vegas.
More penalties, they like more turnovers, and scored less points.
I can tell you, I was there on a Raiders game day earlier last fall, and they were playing the Browns, who are horrible of all teams. Thing was overtaken by Browns fans.
Yeah.
But the Vegas part of it can be distracting, that's for sure. Jimmy writes in on YouTube, Daryl Hammond? Is that Daryl Hammond? That's what we're talking about. That's right. The Bears are moving to Daryl Hammond.
Daryl Hammond to be Kevin Warren on SNL.
I don't know how that would work. All right, we'll be back.
You can if you let it.
We'll talk with our dear friend Jake Sorensen coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right. Welcome back. Friday here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend, Jake Sorensen from 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln. Good morning, Jake.
Morning. Off the bat, I want to say something to you, Happer. Forgive me, Mike, on this one. Probably for the first time in my life, and maybe the first person from Lincoln to tell you, Happer, I just want to say congrats to the Jays and that incredible win against UConn this week. Never thought I'd say that. But that, you know what? That was a huge upset. I'm shocked to say these words myself, but actual congratulations to you and the Jays family on that win.
And there's no, this isn't like I'm just happy because it helps Nebraska's non-con strength of schedule or anything like that.
Genuinely happy for the Jays. It's been a rough year for you guys, which is uncommon. Welcome to how it is to be a Nebraska fan usually, but that was a very impressive win. Maybe one of the top 5 wins of the season in college basketball.
So let me ask this.
Thank you, Jake.
Is everything that went down in Iowa on Tuesday allow you to just turn all of your Jays vitriol for a program that you already have a ton of vitriol for Iowa? Is it that the Jays are so inconsequential that all of your dislike for them, you can just add into Iowa, especially for this season?
I appreciate the thought. I think you guys both know that my psychology is probably really can't assess how it operates. I don't even know how my brain works at all most days either, but that's probably a good way to look at it, Shape. I was depressed about the Iowa game in Creighton. I don't like them at all. But I guess that's one way for me to cast off the anger I had against the Hawkeyes. So, I mean, that's a good theory. I don't know if I can confirm it, but it's a good thought, Mike.
I had a really good 24 hours, and we'll just leave it at that. There was just a really nice 24 hours, and we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Jake, I have a question for you. We were talking about this earlier. Do you remember the time where we stayed in the radio station for the impending snowstorm, and we stayed there, did the morning show, did like an hour of the morning show or like 20 minutes of the morning show, and then the power went off? Do you remember this?
Happer, how can you forget something like that? Of course I do. We were talking about what's the best way to go about this. And we said, well, you didn't live that far from the station.
Not at all.
Lived, like a few minutes. It made sense to set up shop there. I lived way north at that time. And we decided, let's just do it. Let's stay the night, get some sleeping bags. And I think we watched a bunch of Parks and Rec that night. I want to say, and we tried to go to bed like around 11. There's like barely any snow on the ground. It's kind of a bust. We wake up. Oh my God, there's like 7 or 8 inches of snow. Like you said, we do the show. A guy calls in saying, "Hey man, the lights are all down around town." And then the generator goes out like at 6:25, and we're off the air. So all of that for literally 25 minutes of radio, and it was worth it. That was fun.
It was worth it.
Good memory.
Now we have the memories. I just remember trying to sleep in like the giant printer would keep making noise, and I hadn't prepared for sleeping at an office.
You guys were in that portion
in Jake's office, yeah.
Basically. In the sales office. Yeah.
Wow.
We probably could have gone in separate areas to sleep. There's enough space. You could have been in an office. I could have been in there, but no, we both chose the same room for some reason. So I'm not sure why we did that.
It's a big room, for the record. It's a big room.
It is big. It is big. But there's several spaces there for 2 people in the entire office.
All right. Well, we'll go from some snow here to the potential of Nebraska playing in Buffalo, where it would undoubtedly snow and then be difficult to get to. If Nebraska were to play out exactly as they have it in sort of the mock bracket that went up, would you accept right now Nebraska is a 3, East Tennessee State in Buffalo with UNC play-in game as the other portion of that pod? Right now, would you accept this?
Yes. And we talked about this, Schaefer. You and I talked about Buffalo as a possibility.
Yeah, Buffalo is your
I don't mind
your
Buffalo.
city. Yeah.
I've been to Buffalo. It's a good city. They got the Anchor Bar. They got good people. Even though I'm a Dolphins fan, the Bills are a rival. I still like the city of Buffalo and how they operate. I'm going to be probably an outlier in this conversation. And I was thinking about it last night when I was shoveling snow, which happened, I think, 3 times. But
anyways, I was thinking about this whole conversation about where Nebraska plays or where the team plays. I'm over it. Like, yeah, you want to be in OKC, you want to be in St. Louis. It's more convenient.
What a take.
If you're going to support this team, you go wherever they go. If it's on Mars, you go to Mars. If it's in Philly, you go. Like, why are we complaining about where it's at? I understand there's travel costs with like flights involved. I get that, but I don't care. I will follow this team wherever they go, and I will not complain about where they play at.
This is a great take by you. Also, I don't
It's
know.
a very good take.
I don't know if they have the hotel space for it on Mars, but
And Mars hotels would be difficult.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely, but that's one of those conversations I get so sick of. Like, be grateful you're playing in the dance, that you have a great team to support, and go watch them. If it's not your dream city, who cares? Like, it's very rare to get the city you want them to play in. Come on.
Okay, so let me give you another this or that. Our dear friend Josh Peterson asked this question on Twitter yesterday. I don't know, maybe you saw it, maybe you voted. Okay.
I did see it.
So here it is. Door 1, Nebraska ball wins their first tournament game, but definitely loses after that. It's over. Or door 2, anything else. Literally anything else. Which door do you want?
I know I'm curious, what do you guys think I put for that answer?
God, I was thinking about that as I was asking it. I think you might be a door 1 guy.
Brain.
I think you might be a door 1 guy.
What concerns me is that you're a door 1 guy.
Schaefer, Happer's correct. I picked door 1. I got to get that first win, and they might write this and might play, blow out Penn State, Maryland, and maybe win both games in California or split it and then beat Iowa and they'll go in as deserving 3 seed. But I mean, they have never won the dance. We know the conversation. I just need to know for sure they're going to win. And I can accept a loss in round 2. That'd be sad for how good the season's been. But if right now my goal is this team needs to get the monkey off their back, get this for the program, and the rest is gravy. And that's a loss in round 2. I'll be upset at the time and realize they achieved the major goal of the season, and I can live with that. And now let's build on it going forward.
I am disgusted by you being a door 1 guy, but so
winning a tournament game is, I mean,
yeah, no,
It's
trust
very
me,
hard.
I totally understand.
now the problem with the complicating factor is they're going to be like a 4,
a 3 or a 4,
a
and
3
it's
or
like
a
the
4.
expectation is you should win, and then you
Right.
have the opportunity to potentially win again,
and you'll be favored in your second.
Right, you'll certainly be favored in your first. Depending on matchup, maybe you wouldn't be favored in your second. Jake, so with the loss to Iowa, Nebraska, has lost 4 out of its last 6, is 6-4 out of its last 10 games, hasn't beaten a team that currently has a winning record since Indiana. What are kind of your thoughts on this team and how they've been playing as of late? Do you have any concern that you maybe have seen the best version of this team? Not that they couldn't win in the NCAA tournament, win a game, get you door number 1, but do you think that maybe the best version of this team has already passed its by?
Yeah, that was my fear when they had this, 20-0 start. That, I mean, they were blowing.
That's why you
teams
wanted
out.
them to
They looked
lose.
Exceptional. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to be kind of know that I don't want to be undefeated going to the dance, lose, and then have a bad game. And that's just me being obviously irrational, which I am oftentimes. But yeah, I mean, this team has not looked right the last couple of games. Even in the win against Northwestern, the first 20 minutes were terrible. They were down 20-12 to Northwestern. Tight in the second half, and then they blew them out. Obviously, Iowa's just. It's amazing how they've changed that philosophy already. Ben McCollum comes in, and Fran McCaffrey refused to play defense at all in his tenure there. Now they're a defensive team, and that's tough to beat. They're physical. They rebound well. Bennett Sturgis had a great game in terms of making shots he had to make, but it's not free flowing. And teams have learned how to stop Nebraska. And I know that Fred's complained about teams being able to hold on to Price. Well, if they're not going to call it, then teams are going to do that, and they should, because that's how the game is being called. So things just aren't opening up as much. And, Braden Frager is probably not fully back still health-wise. And, Rink obviously has not been right besides the Rutgers game since he had the illness. So, yeah, they're in a little bit of a funk, and hopefully they can, get back on track. for the Big Ten tournament. But yeah, I absolutely have the fear that they played their best basketball already. And I'm not sure how, as the fan base, others couldn't have that fear with how good they were and how just kind of pedestrian it's been for the last 2 weeks.
Jake, I know that you have something cooked up as far as a Royals projection for this year. They have a baseball game today, which is kind of amazing to think about, considering we just got dumped on with snow. So what do you think? How many wins, and is it result in hoisting a trophy at the end of the year?
Happer, I'm glad you asked, because I was talking to a couple guys here at the station that are big baseball fans. I did my quick assessment of the different teams across the AL and NL, and I comprised my World Series matchup. I already have it, and I like this Royals team. I really do. I got the Royals going to the World Series this year. I do. The AL, again, the AL East has got, the Yankees obviously are tough, and the Red Sox can be tough, and the Blue Jays, of course, could be a favorite. Mariners are a favorite. You can never believe, though, in Seattle, they never get over the hump. Like Nebraska basketball, they just can't get over the hump. That's Seattle Mariners baseball. They've had some good years and just always fall short. I like the Royals team. They got a great starting rotation. They got Matt Strom in the bullpen. I like that addition, and I know that people are concerned about some of the lineup, but I think Cags will have a great year, and Carter Jensen could be very good this year. And they're pretty deep in the pitching rotation, which is something that is hard to beat. So I said Royals against the Cubs.
Whoa.
In the World Series, not the Dodgers.
And someone beside the Dodgers is allowed to go?
That would be a bad deal for anyone who's not a fan of one of those teams who's from around here. That would be they would probably end up hating baseball. Mike Schaefer, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I don't know that I would end up hating. If the Dodgers aren't in the World Series, I think I would, you put that slip in front of me, I'm signing that right now.
Okay.
Just get the Dodgers out. That's step number one. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be thrilled about a Cubs-Royals matchup from just
But you'd be so annoyed.
It'd just be very over the top. It'd be fascinating, the people that went from they really didn't care about the Royals until they made the World Series in 2014 and then were diehards in 2015. And then suddenly we're posting Cubs pictures everywhere in 2016.
Interesting.
It would they'd have to kind of figure out what's going on there. They'd have to make a decision.
Am I crazy, Happer? I mean, you're a diehard Royals fan. Is it out of bounds to say that's possible for this case?
I'm pretty high on them, and the playoffs are random. So I mean,
I definitely think they can make the playoffs. I definitely think they can win the division. I think winning the American League would be pretty challenging.
Here's my bold prediction for them is that Bobby Witt Jr. is the MVP. I don't even know if it's that bold because he's one of the favorites, but I think he's hitting 30, 35 home runs this year and just going to rocket ship into the next thing.
Yeah. I think a major concern would be that you saw a regression in the second half of the season from Seth Lugo, who obviously was incredible the first year and a half with KC. That's a concern if that continues. Michael Walker can't be this good forever. He's getting old. So those two guys have been good, but can they do it again for a full season? I like Noah Cameron. I like obviously Reagan, who battled injuries last year. And again, I think their bullpen's okay. It's not great. It's okay. So. I'm optimistic. I can't wait to watch him play, and I hope Garcia can back up his great season last year. We get one more great season from Salvi, and I think this should be a good team.
Okay, I'm with you. Maybe we'll make a trip down there again at some point this year.
Oh, we're doing that.
All right.
I think our last trip, Happer, was not good. We saw Mike Fulton-Nevitz, I think, shut out the Royals 5-0. It was awful for the Braves back in the day.
I was trying to think of which version of Mike Fulton-Nevitz.
He was the good version, the first good version.
Okay. At that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is early Mike Fulton-Nevitz.
Not like Houston Astros or A's Fulton-Nevitz.
We famously saw we were there on Royals A's fight weekend in 2015. That was a classic. Awesome. We were listening to the game on the drive down of what's his name, Brett Lowry sliding into Alcides Escobar.
Brett Lowry.
Yeah, Brett Laurie.
And they were
Lori, yeah.
They were listening to the radio, and and I think Josh Meneer's like, these bums by the bay coming to the case. He's just taking shots. It's like an early season game. Early season.
Yeah, it was April.
Series.
It was April. That was
These
epic.
bums by the bay.
All right, Jake. Well, great to talk to you as always. Enjoy your weekend. Talk to you later.
You too, guys. Thanks.
Jake Sorensen from The Ticket in Lincoln. Early break from 6 to 9.
He never said who would win between the Cubs.
That's true. Just to predict, we'll ask him that next week.
Yeah, we can.
Who wins the Royals Cubs World Series?
We'll want to know that information.
I would not ever select my team to go to the World Series just because I'm too scared of that. But I am pretty high on them. I think they're going to be pretty good.
There's probably been 1 year in my life, maybe 2, where I felt before the year that the Cleveland would go to the World Series, and it would have been 2007 and 2017, and they made the playoffs both years. In 2017, they were the best team in baseball, and then failed to win one extra game against the Yankees, lost that series. In 2007, they had a 3-1 lead against the Red Sox in the ALCS. Awaiting them was the Rockies, like the most guaranteed of World Series victories of all time, and they couldn't get the one extra win.
Boston.
More Cleveland to me. Like every time.
You hate your team more than
in a
you
series
hate other teams.
Is never a given for me. 2-0 in a 5-game series, not a given.
Pedro writes in, hi guys, maybe Jake and Mike should ask Doug McDermott how he felt about the season after they got blown out by Baylor in the NCAA tournament. Great season, but a terrible loss to end their season. Everyone was in tears. So we could talk about that when we come back. It was horrible. What a horrible experience. But later, I don't know. I view it as more of a, it's a bad punctuation on such a fun ride.
Sure.
Like we have 10 years of distance from it now, so it takes on a little bit of a different light. All right, we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's set up the weekend here real quick. So let's go with baseball first, since we were kind of just talking about baseball a little bit there. This weekend, the Big Red is at the Amagi Bank College Baseball Series at Globe Life Field in Arlington. They will play today at 3 against Louisville. Then come back tomorrow at 7 against Kansas State, and Sunday, not Friday, as it says in the notes, Sunday against Florida State. 3 pretty tough opponents there. Top 20 teams, and K-State, who's, always been a tough out. So good challenge this weekend for Nebraska, coming off a nice weekend last weekend to start.
Yeah. I mean, these are big games for them to try to add on to what they had done last week. And so Louisville, which struggled a little bit with Michigan State, maybe you got an opportunity there. And you just kind of get to see how you continue to stack up. I mean, they've got that series with Auburn at the end of the month that feels like that could be a lot of fun.
It sure will. I really think it will. So Nebraska's in
I know a fair amount of people that are going to this series down in
It's
town.
an easy trip. You just fly direct to Atlanta and drive like an hour and a half. 2 hours to Auburn.
It's basically not Auburn, going down to the series this
Oh,
weekend.
this, yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, we've done the Phoenix thing a couple times and just want to go watch Nebraska play. And it's like a $70 flight out of Omaha to Dallas.
Yeah.
And so I was surprised, but I've had probably 6 or 7 people I know that are going down there. And then one of Jake's coworkers I saw
a selfie video of other young Nick. The Blue Jays are in California for the second consecutive weekend, this time to the southern side. They are at the Tony Gwynn tournament in San Diego. They will get UC San Diego tonight on ESPN Plus, San Diego University tomorrow on ESPN Plus, and then Utah on Sunday. No video available.
Wow. So they won't get San Diego State at all?
That is correct.
So the Tony Gwynn thing, where he played at San Diego State, he was a basketball player at San Diego State. Is it possible they're not even in the event?
Well, I guess I don't know where this is. I don't. I wish I knew where it was. But anyway, no, it does not appear as if they'll get San Diego State this weekend in the Tony Gwynn tournament.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just assume when you hear Tony Gwynn,
maybe I assume it's at San Diego State, but I don't know why they're not in it.
Well, and it's just
maybe they are and they just don't play them.
Right.
Yeah, I guess they probably are. And
there's probably more teams, and
there's another side to the bracket.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's another side to the bracket. Yes. So
it would just be weird to me if he wasn't involved, I think. And I know that he played for the Padres. He's a big part of the baseball community and all of that. But it's just like, I also know played for San Diego State.
San Diego State's got BYU in Utah, and then San Diego. So there must be like 5 or 6 teams in this thing, and it's just a play however many games you can type of deal. Then basketball this weekend. Nebraska gets Penn State tomorrow at 1:00. Pinnacle Bank Arena will be sold out.
Make the noise.
BTN with Dave Revson and Sean Morris on the call.
Hey, Sean Morris. We'll see if Penn State plays outstanding defense.
Will they play outstanding
I'm sure
defense?
he'll think that it's really good.
Creighton will go to Madison Square Garden. 11:00 tip-off tomorrow. You'll be able to hear that right here on 1620 The Zone. What's our pregame plan, Joey?
Blue Jay shoot-around starts at 9:30 with Austin Jacobson and myself. John will be on 10:30 on 1620 The Zone and 101.9 The Keg. And then post-game reaction following after the game with Gary, Indiana Bears fan, Matt McMaster. Well, Hammond, Indiana. Indiana Bears.
This game will be on Fox, Big Fox, with Alex Faust and Donnie Marshall. Can't get away from Donnie Marshall these days.
Nice early tip, though.
Okay, so I don't know. Can Creighton somehow pull out another one? I don't know. I have no idea. Nebraska, I think, is expected to be okay.
This is probably less about Creighton than we want in this exact moment, but is it possible the best team in the Big East is St. John's?
I mean, we'll have to find out in that stripe out game.
Is it possible
at UConn?
Is it possible? Yes. Is
Well,
it?
what if they end up beating UConn
Just
twice?
Having watched them,
Then it's said and done.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, but like I think what you're asking is a more like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess
is a more general question.
part of it is like if they go beat UConn twice, go win the conference, that sort of fascinates me a little bit that, UConn wouldn't have been able to beat the other great team in that conference at this point in time.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think UConn is better. Even though,
I haven't watched enough of each to say. I've probably watched a little more UConn than I have St. John's. I didn't get to watch the game that you were very excited about when they played in
the Friday night game
in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
But are they the last regular season game? Is that how?
No, it's actually coming up next week.
Yeah, I think it's on Wednesday.
It's on Wednesday. Yeah,
6:00 start time. I think it's on Peacock.
Well, who knows? Maybe Creighton will catch a St. John's team that's looking past them to play UConn.
UConn plays. Well, UConn coming off their loss to Creighton plays Villanova tomorrow and plays St. John's on.
That's
Wednesday.
on the road.
What if UConn just goes on a slide?
Why are you rooting for this? Do you
Why
hate
wouldn't
Dan
I be
Hurley?
rooting for this?
Oh, you want Nebraska to be the basketball capital of the
Send
world.
UConn to Buffalo.
I don't think they would mind that.
All right.
I mean,
Buffalo
it's
would be
perfectly
great for
fine
them,
for them,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. That will do it for us today. As always, appreciate you guys listening to the show. Enjoy your snow days today if you got them. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is next.